When you come to Loughborough, there's so many different sports that we have on offer, whether you want to compete or whether you want to play recreationally. But our competitive side, we have our AU teams, so we hold taster sessions, so you can give things a go. And then if you want to, you can trial for the team. And then if you're successful on the team, you buy a membership and you compete for Loughborough in that sport.
Loughborough has been phenomenally successful at BUCS. BUCS is the British Universities and Colleges Sport Championships. So we have over 60 clubs that compete and train week in, week out. Thousands and thousands of students take part in the athletic union, and they all love to wear the kind of African violet purple shirt with pride and represent the university against other universities and against the best clubs in the country.
The buzz you get on Wednesday nights, the BUCS nights, just running out in front of all your friends, it's just a real buzz, walking through that tunnel, getting onto the pitch. Playing for Loughborough makes me feel really proud, just seeing the people that have been there, worn the shirt already, and what they're doing now. They're playing for England on the weekends, they're playing for the professional clubs.
Each athletic union club has their own student committee which help to run and facilitate their sport. It's really important for us that student development is just as much at the heart of what our athletic union clubs do, as well as the actual playing of sport. Everybody gets to use the same facilities here on campus. It's not like we've got facilities that are only for elite people or only for beginners. We all use the same facilities, tread on the same pitches, and we've got staff that are available to make sure that your experience is as good as it can be. We have an incredible array of coaching staff, performance support staff, so things like physio, strength and conditioning coaches that are always on hand to help people learn, develop and improve.
So the AU at Loughborough is just like completely different from any other university. The competitive side of it is really supported by the uni, and like the social side as well, alongside the competitive teams. Everyone seems to really be invested and come to support Loughborough when they're playing.
Loughborough will give you an incredible opportunity for sport, whatever your interest is, whatever level you want to be part of, and really have that life-shaping journey through university. This is the place that you can really develop and learn and enjoy yourself as well.
Hello, I'm Ali Oliver, Chief Executive of the children's charity, the Youth Sport Trust, and I'm really excited to share our new strategy with you, inspiring changemakers and building belonging. Children only have one childhood, and worryingly things have got really critical for their health and happiness. We are staring in the face of the next pandemic, where children are spending too much time online and not enough time playing together and playing with their friends. Unhappy, unhealthy children don't learn. When children don't learn, they don't achieve their potential in life, and we end up with a society that isn't fit for purpose. Sadly, this isn't new to us at the Youth Sport Trust. We have spent 27 years building brighter futures through the power of play and sport, changing lives for the better by getting young people active, playing together and experiencing the joy of movement. At the Youth Sport Trust, our vision is a future where every child enjoys the benefits that come from play and sport. And now there's never been a more important time for us to focus on this. Our strategy sets out to tackle this. Over the coming years, we'll harness the power of play and sport to help young people find a sense of belonging and raise awareness of the damaging impact of a life without play and sport. By helping young people feel a sense of belonging, we'll stop them being isolated, lonely, feeling anxious and bombarded by others constantly telling them how they should look, feel and be. We really need your support. A 4-year-old entering school this year will leave in 2035. They deserve a world where their health, happiness and well-being is prioritised. We're on a mission to try and create societal change, but we can't do that alone. We need a whole range of new change makers, teachers, families, young leaders themselves, politicians, the media, a range of people in public life who are equally concerned about the health and happiness of the next generation. So please join us, become a change maker, read our strategy and help us build a brighter future for young people through play and sport. Thank you.
There's so much respect for Loughborough because it generates good players but also like well-rounded people, and I think being here for 4 years I've really realised how much it's developed me as a person, not only as a badminton player.
The fact that it's on campus really helps with your sport because you've got the best facilities in the UK here, right at your fingertips.
So parasport is integrated through almost all of our offers at Loughborough. Of course, there are some sports where we need to have specialist provision for some para-athletes, but overall, most of our programmes are highly integrated so that you have disabled and non-disabled athletes able to train alongside each other. We've got fantastic facilities, fantastic coaches, fantastic support staff. Our alumni network extends throughout professional sport, and what that creates in the end is a Loughborough family, which really is there around you and supporting you as you move through your journey.
As a scholar, I get free physio support, so I can see physio whenever I like and it's for free. I get free S&C, so I have a strength and conditioning coach that works with me and my coach. Then I can see a nutritionist, which again, he ties in with my strength and conditioning.
It's all quite individualised, so the coaches will sit down with you and discuss like what you want out of the programme, what are your priorities, and they'll build a kind of a schedule that will suit you and your needs.
It makes everything easy because they all talk to each other and then they can talk to my coach and then everything's just in one place, and so it's just, yeah, it's ideal, to be honest.
One of the things I'm proudest of is that the average marks of our performance athletes are higher than the university average almost every year. We really care about people's degrees and we support them and make modifications to both their sporting programme and their education programme so that they can genuinely do both.
The reputation of Loughborough, it's there for a reason. It's known as the best because it is the best.
So our facilities are fantastic and it's hard not to get blown away by them. But the thing I would really sell us on is the environment, the culture and the people that you'll be around. People genuinely trying to be the best they can be. We've got people competing internationally across all sorts of sports and you can't really fail but to be motivated and inspired by that.
me explain more? And when you think you probably get what
Good morning and welcome to the 2022 School Games National Finals here at Loughborough University, the University of the Year for Sport. We are back for the second day of the Modern Pentathlon at the Brockington cricket pitch, which has been transformed to give us a brilliant venue for this morning's action. Today it's the individual laser runs. There'll be 4 races across the morning, starting off with the under 17 girls individual laser run, which will be starting in just a few minutes' time. The main difference today is that we will have the mass starts, unlike yesterday where it was staggered. And there's been no swimming earlier today or yesterday, which will dictate starting order in this race. All of our athletes will go at the same time, and it will be one big run to the finish line at the end to try and grab themselves a medal at the end of the event. The weather today, a little bit warmer than yesterday, 19 degrees at this time this morning. The sun also trying to break through the grey clouds over Loughborough University, and promising a little bit of a warmer afternoon, better than the rain that we had yesterday. So the first event that we have got this morning is the under 17 girls individual laser runs, and the range is now closed for the warm-up, which means that we are very nearly underway. 20 athletes will be taking part in this first race, all with numbers on the bibs, and those athletes are wearing number 1, Bianca Gomez Valesco. Wearing number 2, B. Kenner. Wearing number 3 is Connie Frick. In 4 is Daisy Hassel. Number 5 is Tegan Walsh. Number 6 is Evie O'Connor. Wearing 7 is Adele Ellaby. Wearing 8 is Imi Edwards. In 9 is Edie Powell. Number 10 is Emily Carman. Wearing 11 is Emily Oliver. Number 12 is Isabel Whittle. Number 13, Ellis Rochford. Number 14, Jessica Evans. Wearing 15, Edie Penderis. Number 16 is Annabelle Suffield. Number 17, Jessica Spalton. Number 18, Sarah McAllister. Number 19, Emma Jupp. And number 20, Lily May Lancaster Evans. The numbers have been randomly allocated, and as we said, with a mass start, it doesn't matter, as they will not be started in a staggered order, as the 20 of them line up and await for the go from the officials. So it looks like we're nearly ready to get underway here at the Brockington cricket pitch for the first race this morning. And with that, the under 17 girls individual laser run is off. Similar to the under 17 girls events yesterday, it starts with a short sprint into the shooting range. And again, like yesterday, it will be 4 lots of 600 metres each time, 2 laps around our 300 metre course on Brockington cricket pitch. And every time in the shooting range it's a 10 metre distance, and the aim is to get those 5 green lights as quick as they can. If they don't manage it within 50 seconds, that is when they can make their way on to the running leg. And already we have got about half of the field onto the first of their 4 running legs around this 300 metre lap that has been flagged out. Connie Frick makes her way out of the chute, leading at the very early stage. Daisy Hassel is the one who managed to make it out first after the first of the running laps, a couple of seconds ahead of Imi Edwards. We've also got Evie O'Connell and Isabel Whitten very close in 3rd and 4th, but it is incredibly early. As we saw yesterday from the combined event, it really can change across the whole of the laser run. It could just be one of the chutes. The accuracy a little bit harder, particularly as they go further on through the event. That can completely change the course and the results of the laser run. Come on, Tagger! and is very much the way with Modern Pentathlon as well. Obviously, each athlete's got their strength against the multiple events that we have within the pentathlon. And while some are stronger with the shooting, others can pick up the pace on the running. As our race leader at this moment in time, Daisy Hassel, once again with a couple of second lead from Imi Edwards, makes her way towards the shooting range for the second of her shoots in this individual laser run. And the two of them in fact make it in pretty much neck and neck.
Let's go, Jess! Oh my god!
And a brilliant shoot there from Imi Edwards. She now takes the lead after getting the 5 in a very, very quick time.
Let's go, 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 go!
This time it's Daisy Hassel who's slightly behind. Can she make up that time on the run? Once again, it is all to play for in each of the stages and the legs of this race.
Well done, Isabel. Let's go, stop.
There's some great shooting going on. Bianca Gomez-Valeska, who was quickest in the pool yesterday morning for the combined event, she makes her way out of the range as well. As Connie Frith makes her way into the shooting range for her second one, making up a bit of time there as well and closing that gap.
Well done, Emily. Move on, Emily. Well done. Good stuff, girls. Yeah. Well done, B. Well done, Sarah. Go on, Annabelle. Let's go, Annabelle. Let's go. Smash it. Well done, Annabelle. Let's go. Go on, Daisy. Smashing the guns. Well done. Well done, Evie. Well done, Emily. Well done, Isabel. Smash it. I should have better just standing there. Let's go, Tegan.
So nearly halfway through this individual laser run event for the under 17 girls, already the determination starting to show, that exhaustion starts to kick in on those runs. But from all 20 of these athletes, brilliant performances on a Saturday morning. Pushing themselves to give every little bit of energy that they have got. Those are all of our athletes now on their second run leg, but it is race leader Imi Edwards making her way at the front into the chute for the third of her 4 shoots. Daisy Hassel not far behind, but in fact it's Evie Power who's made her way up now and is joining in those front 3 alongside Emily Carmen. All of whom at this point be within the chance of a medal. Quick shoot there from Emily Carmen, who's back off for her third run.
Great job, guys. Go, Daisy. You got this. Let's go. Great job. Great shoot. Let's go, Tegan. One lap. Well done, Tegan. Smashing it. Isabel, keep going. Great job, Isabel.
As we see representatives of all 4 of the teams that are taking part, the clubs involved in the event, the Knights, the Saxons, the Tudors and the Saltires, all very successful in yesterday's combined event action. Good to see all 4 teams and clubs represented in this under 17 girls individual laser run event this morning.
Well done, Evie. Go for it.
So at the front, Imi Edwards, fantastic pace, thinking about the strategy and the long game within this run. Evie Powell and Emily Carmen pretty much together as they go for the second lap in this leg of the run. And Daisy Hassel, she led from the beginning, still very, very close.
Annabelle, good start to your run. Well done. You're doing so good.
Tegan Walsh making her way into the shooting range. Alongside Connie Frith as well. Determination and drive from those two to push themselves up to the group. Brilliant to see this morning. As our race leaders make their way in for their fourth and final shoot, it is Imi Edwards who comes in first, closely followed by Emily Carman and Evie Powell, very close behind. A few seconds between those three now. And it is Imi Edwards, number 8, who is away first. And cheers from the supporters, the team managers, willing on their athletes, particularly those who are making their way onto the final leg. Now just 600 metres between them and the end of this individual laser run. A chance of a medal on day 2 of the Modern Pentathlon programme here at the School Games National Finals.
Keep moving. I would just be like, what I'm doing, mate?
But as we say, from all 20 athletes, it's the passion out there on the field to do the very best they can, to pick every place that they can and show their very best this morning, which is great to see as we see Jessica Spalton making her way out of the shooting range and onto the run leg.
Great job, Bianca. Great job. So good. Oh yeah, Amy. Great job, Amy. Good stuff. Well done.
As Emily Carman goes round to finish her final lap of her run leg, Evie Powell about 2 seconds behind, still very close towards those two. For the silver, Daisy Hassel also catching up. Possibly the chance of a bronze after she went out strong at the beginning of this race.
Well done, girls. You're doing so well. Good stuff, B. Well done, Emily. Keep pushing.
And as our finish line officials make their way over, we know that we are coming up towards the end of this race. Expect some sprints from these young athletes, leaving every last bit of energy to the end. To finish strong.
Well done, Adele.
And there at the finish line is our first place and gold medalist. It will be number 8, Imi Edwards, who takes the gold in the under 17s. Behind her, Evie Powell will take the silver, and it will be Emily Carman who takes the bronze. The 3 medalists at the end of this one. In 4th, Isabel Whipple. A brilliant performance from her this morning. And Daisy Hassel, she was out very strong in that first leg. A very admirable 5th place for her in the finish. As you can see, once again, what's great about the athletes of the Modern Pentathlon, we saw it yesterday, the sportsmanship between them, the camaraderie, regardless of team, regardless of finishing position, the respect they will hold for one another. As you see the handshakes and the celebration between them amongst the exhaustion, understandably, after some hard run races this morning.
Great job, Tegan.
Jessica Spalton makes her way over the line, as does Bianca Gomez Valesco. She was our quickest swimmer yesterday morning, their combined events. Great finish for her this morning as well on day 2 of the action. Evie O'Connell makes her way across the line.
Great job, Adele. Last lap, last push, baby.
Evie Penderis, as well as her teammate Jessica Evans, just a couple of seconds behind. Where number 13, Ellis Rochford, makes her way across the line. Great run from her. Same with Beat Kinner as well, representing Saxons, as Connie Frith makes her way off after her final shoots onto her final run leg. As Lily May, Lancaster Evans, Annabelle Suffield make their way over the line. as does Sarah McAllister. Tegan Walsh coming around to finish and take her final lap of this run leg. As Adele Ellaby makes her way across the finish. The smiles and support of teammates at the end of this race, great to see. And cheers from the spectators and teams for Connie Frith, who is making her way around. We've said about the determination and the self-belief today to finish, the passion and the drive to make it over the finish line in every one of the events this weekend. And despite the early Saturday morning here at Loughborough University, it is good to see the energy levels of the athletes, spectators, officials, everyone who's working on the event today, as the sun starts breaking through the grey cloud here as well. And it's Tegan Walsh making her way down towards the line, giving everything that she's got in this individual laser run today, leaving nothing behind on the track. Celebrations and applause from teammates and people across the ground. And Connie, who found it tricky with the shooting today but has not given up whatsoever and deserves every bit of applause and cheer as she makes her way across the line. This is the determination and passion we talk about here at the school games, as the crowd will her across the line. And she finishes ending our under 17 girls individual laser run this morning. The first of 4 events. Congratulations to all of our 20 athletes for making it across the line, and some brilliant performances on that, particularly after yesterday's event as well. That's it for the first of our 4 events. The next one will be the under 17 boys individual laser run, which we expect to get underway just before quarter past 10 this morning. A little bit later on, the under 19 girls will be starting at around 10:56, and then at around 20 to 12, the under 19 boys, all of them individual laser run events this morning.
It's nice to meet you. I'm Eden.
Hi.
Oh, go for it. Sorry.
I was saying hi, and it's nice to meet you.
Okay, cool. I'm a T54 wheelchair racer, and I competed at the school games quite a lot. It was one of my first competitions, but I'm a bit old for it now, unfortunately. But what sport do you do?
So I'm a T38 sprinter and long jumper. Yeah, I'm an T38.
So what's your favorite event then?
I think I started off with sprinting, and then I've gradually moved over to long jumping as well.
That's awesome.
So probably 100's probably my favorite.
Okay, got it. So I do long distance. I've most recently done the marathon at the Commonwealth Games, and I do track stuff as well. Unfortunately, I don't do 100-meter sprints anymore, but that's actually one of the events I competed at when I went to the school games. So have you done how do you compete often? How long have you been doing your sport?
So I started my sport like seriously like 2-3 years ago, so like year 7. I did school games last year, but because of like COVID and everything, it kind of was a bit different. I've done some like major events. Like I think in May I competed for GB.
Oh wow.
At the Italian Grand Prix, Power Grand Prix. And yeah, I've been doing some. I did Diamond League this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so quite a bit competing.
Wow, that's really, really cool actually. I was lucky enough, I've been competing since I was 12. I'm now 21, so quite a long time. I've competed for, well, Team England, and I went to the World Juniors twice as well. And for me, that was a big product of the school games because it was the first place that I actually went on my own as a young competitor, which I really enjoyed, but obviously must have been a bit different during COVID. I didn't have that experience, but I'm sure this year, now COVID's out of the way, it should be a lot more eventful and interactive.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do you have any questions? Or sorry.
Yeah. What like first inspired you to do like long distance and wheelchair racing?
So I watched 2012 when I was quite young, and I went into senior school in year 7 just after the Paralympics games had ended, or sort of during the end of it, at the end of it. And my school was really big on sport where I went. So they introduced me into a program called Playground to Podium, which sort of I tried wheelchair racing there. And then I found my coach, Jenny Archer and David Weir, and I sort of got into it from there. And long distance kind of came naturally as I got a bit older. Everyone in wheelchair racing, or not all the time, but in most cases you start off doing sprints because it's not easy to learn, but your body can handle it a bit better, sort of getting used to it. And it was sort of when I turned maybe about 16 or 17 that I realized that I preferred long distance. And this year was the first year I actually stopped doing sprints. And it's also the first time I've ever done marathons. So it was quite a long progression into the long distance stuff.
Yeah, I can never do long distance.
Well, never say never. I thought that when I first started.
Well,
it's more fun than it sounds.
Yeah. So like how did you prepare for like competitions and like the Commonwealth Games?
So mainly I have a routine that I do. Especially the night before, it's making sure everything's packed. I write a list, which sounds really boring, but it works. And I've been competing for a long time. So for me, I've found what works for me, how to warm up properly, and stretching, and if I take any supplements, what ones I'm going to take depending on the distance and the races. But training wise for the Commonwealth, the preparation was pretty brutal. It's been super hot, and long distance in such extreme heat is really hard. So for me, it was sort of trying to figure out how I can push 100 miles a week to prepare for the Commonwealth Games. And that was really difficult, but I was lucky enough to have a great team of coaches and nutritionists behind me. And I did a lot of research for myself for nutrition to find out sort of what's best for me as a long distance athlete, and S&C as well, strength and conditioning, that was a massive part played too. But mainly it's just getting my head down, knuckling down and going for it.
That sounds good. So what like tips would you have for someone preparing for a race?
I think go through the steps. You've got to envision your race, all the outcomes that there might be, how you would react if something happened. It's really good to practice in all weather conditions if you can, because you never know if it's going to be raining on the day or how windy it's going to be or how hot it's going to be. And kind of just stay calm, or as calm as you possibly can, because you're obviously racing because you know what you're meant to be doing. And you've said that you've raced quite a lot and competed quite a lot, so you know what works for you, and it's just taking deep breaths and staying calm and knowing why you're there.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good. Like what have you learned from school games that you've been able to to use in different competitions?
For me, it was one of the first competitions that I went to on my own. Obviously, you go with a team and you have your chaperones, and but the first one I went to without my parents, where I stayed away from home. I was quite young when I did my first school games, so I wasn't really sure how to prepare, what to do, but it's definitely taught me that sort of whatever situation you go in, there's more than likely going to be other people that can help you while you're there, who know what they're doing more than you do, and who, if you have any questions, you'll be able to just ask. And that was really big when I started going to senior competitions, because it was like, well, all I have to do is ask someone and I'll know what I'm doing now.
Nice. Yeah. I think I haven't actually been able to take as much back from it last year.
Yeah.
Because obviously you don't talk to people as much.
Definitely. This year, though, it should be a lot different. There's a lot of other activities which I'm sure you'll be able to experience now that COVID's sort of on the back burner.
Yeah. Like, how do you deal with disappointment?
I think that's quite a good question, because it's hard to sort of regulate your emotions when you don't do as well as you hoped you would. But for me, it's more remembering that there's a reason that I probably didn't do so well. Maybe I was injured or tired, maybe I hadn't eaten right or slept right, and it's remembering that, okay, this one hasn't gone my way. What did I do that was different, or what didn't I do that I normally do to sort of create this outcome? And it's about looking back at all the things that I did and picking out, okay, so I need to change this for next time, or I need to remember that I can do this next time, just so that there's normally a reason for why something's gone wrong, and if you can pinpoint that reason, it makes it easier to deal with.
Yeah, okay, that's good. As well as that, like, how do you cope with the pressure that you put on yourself, like during the race or like before the race?
I think for me, it's more, I need to remember that I've done everything that I can, and I'm guilty of putting a lot of pressure on myself, pressure to perform well and do things. And as I've gotten a little bit older, I've kind of realized the best thing that I can do is just be calm. Like, I know what I'm doing. I don't need to put pressure on myself, because at the end of the day, I can't control what the other athletes are doing. I can only control what I'm doing. And as long as I'm doing the things that I should be, then I shouldn't really put much more pressure on myself, because I can't really do anything more than what I've already done.
Okay, so like, you've done all the work, and so you have to believe in what you've already done to make.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. You know that you've done the training, you've got your coaches, you've prepared for it as best you could. So there's no point putting any extra pressure on, because it's not going to help in any way.
Yeah, as well, how did you cope like with the pressure of school and the pressure of training and competing?
Yeah, so that was quite a hard one, and now it's changed from school into work as well, which is hard. But it's more, for me, I quite like having the routine of having school and having training, and it's all about time management. The pressure to do well in school and to do well in training it's a lot that a lot of people won't understand, and the best way to do that is surrounding yourself with people who do understand, not necessarily other athletes, but having friends who are like, okay, how can we help you? And having your teachers and your parents, other people sort of being like, we know you've got a lot of pressure on, what can we do to make it easier? Or if there is anything that you need help with, simply just asking can solve a lot of issues, and sort of it takes a lot of pressure off of you, because it's better to have two heads thinking about something than just your own.
Yeah, because I'm going to GCSEs, so I get home from school and I go trainings like almost straight after. So you know how to cope with that. Yeah,
that's a really hard one, especially during exam season. I remember when I was going through my exams, and it's okay to say, look, I have, say, whatever, you have your English exam on the Friday. If you're meant to be training on the Thursday or the Wednesday, it's okay to sometimes say, no, look, I need to work on my schoolwork this week. I need to do this. And then you can pick it up in training after you've done your exam. But it's okay to sort of prioritize things. you don't have to keep the ratios of sport and work and sport and school life exactly the same all the time. It's good to prioritize things at points because it will help you get through it a lot easier.
Yeah, like when did you learn how to prioritize things and what to prioritize?
For me, it was probably during exam seasons, really, because I knew that it was summer. I had races going on, but I also knew that, okay, GCSEs, that's something that I really need to focus on as well. And for me, it became about, okay, if I maintain my level of fitness.
For those athletes taking part in the under-17 boys individual laser run this morning, the range is now over and your warm-up has begun. Once again, 15 minutes. The range is now open and the warm-up has begun.
On a Wednesday night, which is when I was normally going to train, the Wednesday before my physics exam, I said, look, I'm not training today. I need to focus. Because for me, I figured out that GCSEs are something that is going to be going on forever. It's a good thing to make sure I've got my GCSEs and the best grades I can get. And with training wise, I can pick that up at another point. So after my GCSEs, I had all the summer to really smash it out, really pick up my training, and prioritize my training in those summer months where I didn't have my exams. So it's just, it will come more naturally to you throughout your GCSE year. You'll kind of figure out what's harder and what's easier, and then what you need to spend more time on. And it's more about not being afraid to say to your coaches or your parents or whoever, saying, look, I just need to focus on this right now, and I can focus on something else later, whether that is sport, if it's social life, whatever it is, you just don't be afraid to say it.
Yeah. About social life, how did you like juggle sport and like work or school and like your social life as well?
So for me, obviously, you're doing so many things. You're doing sport and you're doing your school life, and you want to have your friends and your social life going on as well. And it was about, again, sort of time management. So even me now, I can't go out every single day with my friends because I've got other things that I have to do. But what I do is on a Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, whatever it is, I'm like, okay, that's the time that I will see my friends and spend quality time with people. And if I have extra time throughout the week, then if I'm up to it, if I'm not too tired, if I've not got anything else on, then I'll go and see my friends. And it was more about making sure my friends understood why I can't just go and hang out with them at any time of any day like they can with everyone else. It was making sure that they know, okay, these are the things that I really have to do, and I will make time for you. It's just, we've got to find the right sort of time that works for everyone. And for me, it tends to be a weekend, a Saturday or a Sunday morning or something like that. And it's all really about time management and just figuring out, okay, right, I'm training Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I've got to do revision on Thursday and Friday, and Saturday even saying, right, Sunday for a few hours during the day, let's go out, let's do something, or FaceTime your friends or talk to them. But it's sort of you, again, prioritizing and time management.
Okay. How did you find school games when you were there? And
I loved it.
What did you enjoy?
So for me, I was really lucky, and I met two of my best friends at the school games, and they were both from different teams. So I really encourage you when you're there to make the most of the other sports that are going on around you, and going out and watching and not being afraid to just go and chat to random people. It's really nice when all the different teams start interacting and you can make some real lifelong friends from it. I mean, I probably went to school games the first time maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and I'm still really, really good friends with the people that I met there that long ago. And it's really just take it all in. Don't go on your phone if you don't have to. I do that at most competition where I'm away. I sort of, maybe I'll go on my phone when I'm in my room at night or something, but other than that, throughout the day, I'm trying to just soak it all in and enjoy the environment. And it really makes a big difference when you can just take a breath and go, I'm going to enjoy this now.
Okay. Was there anything that you didn't like about school games?
I don't remember, it was so long ago. I was a bit fussy with food, so to be honest, I might not have liked the food, but but no, I can't really answer that because I don't quite remember if there was anything I didn't like. Again, for me, it was a really positive experience, all of it being my first time away from my parents, sort of just being able to become my own person in that moment and really feel like this is what I want to do.
Okay, where do you see yourself and like your sport and your career in like the next 5 years?
For me, really, I want to do all the world marathon majors personally, which is it's a lot of places to go. And I want to be able to go to another senior championship. I was lucky enough to get a silver medal at my last one. And so it'd be nice to go to maybe a World Games or Europeans or even the Paralympics. The next 5 years are really busy for the para athletes. So it would just be great to go and experience a load of new things, really. I just want to do the best that I can.
Yeah. Is there like a company that you like want to get to more than others, or are they all like equal?
For me, I think I really want to go to the Paralympics because the Paralympics does have a marathon. So to do the marathon at another big event, there aren't many that do it. The World Championships and European Championships, they don't do it. I would love to go on track for those as well, but I really do enjoy a marathon. I must enjoy the pain or something. But it's, yeah, the Paralympics, it feels like one of the big ones.
Yeah. How do you think like para sport is represented in like the world of sport? And how do you think it's a good representation or not a good one?
I do think that when parasport is represented, it is good through the media. There's always quite a positive outcome and it's always a great story that's told. But I do think that there's still a lot of work that can be done on it. The Commonwealth was really great for sort of putting parasport out there. But I think that there is definitely more that the media can do to help us out, and probably more that we as athletes can do. But it's all about, I think in time, it's going to become bigger and bigger and bigger. It's just having the right people supporting us and willing to sort of put our stories out there that's going to help us more.
Okay. All right. I kind of ran out of questions. So do you have any like
well, yeah, well, I have some questions for you if that's okay. I want to know what your goals are.
Yeah, sure.
Where do you want to be in 10 years' time?
10 years, I would really like to go to the Paralympics or like major event. Yeah, something I don't know, just I can't say that I haven't been to a major event. You know, I want to probably go overseas somewhere.
Yeah.
Like Paralympics or Worlds.
That's really cool. That is really cool. For me, going on international competitions was always the best. Being able to travel with it's really nice.
Yeah.
Really, for me as well, the school games, what I'll sort of say is the school games was a really great point for me as a young athlete. And again, I really do encourage you while you're there to just go and talk to random people. I was really shy when I went, and I kind of forced myself to be out there. And I'm really, really glad that I did, because you will find people with very similar sort of things going on in their lives as you. You'll find other athletes who are also in school, and other athletes that may have a similar disability to you who can understand maybe how you're feeling about certain things a lot better. And you will possibly make friends that you'll have for life. And I mean, I did. And I love them all to pieces, and it's really just worth soaking in the entire environment.
Yeah. Do you find that your family like supportive of what you do? Or
yeah, my family are fully supportive of what I do. They really understand sort of the commitment that it takes and the time and the hours being young. I'm not sure what your family do, but they had to drive me to training and sit and watch me train. And we used to have to drive like over an hour for my training, sort of 3-4 times a week. So they, starting young, I think made it easier for them to understand why it's so important to me. And it's really important to have such a supportive family, or even just to make your family aware and understand of why it's so important to you. It's really good to have that open communication about what your goals are and what your dreams are, and how you feel during training. But I think it's also important to try and not let their views overcloud what you want and what you and your coach think's right for you, because that can also happen sometimes. So it's good to just sort of, you and your coach need to focus on what's best for you in terms of training and that sort of stuff, but it's good for your family to understand why you're doing certain things as well.
Okay, that's actually really helpful. Like, how would you describe like your training? Do you have like a routine, or is it like?
Yeah, so for me, routine's super important. I train twice a day, pretty much every day. And I was lucky enough to take some time out of work to focus on the Commonwealths. But while I'm at working, it's really important that every day is very similar, because it makes things a lot easier. Obviously, there are things that will change, and whatever I'm doing in the evening, sort of, I make sure I have a few hours a day just for my own time to do what I need to do, which is really important. But for me, like at the moment, I'm not working, so every morning at 10 a.m. I'm able to go and train on the roads, and then I'll either go to the gym or I'll train on track in the evenings, and then I'll take a Sunday off. It's really important to have a full day off, no matter what you're doing, a full day off from everything, where you sort of just get to decide whatever you want to do. But at the moment, training has been ruthless, but it's all fun and it's good. And yeah, it's something that you get used to, you know. As I've gotten older, my training has increased and the intensity has increased, but it keeps my mind healthy and my body healthy. And I think it's just, once you're used to it, it's so much better.
Yeah. That's. Oh, I fatigue really easily. So do you have any like tips on like what to do or what not to do when you're tired? Or do you have like days when you don't want to go to training, and like what do you do then?
Yeah, so I definitely, in the heat for me, because I'm a spinal cord, it affects me quite a lot, and it makes me very lethargic and tired, and I don't always feel great. So for me, it's about trying to manage what I'm doing throughout the rest of the day. So like trying not to walk too much, maybe using my chair a lot more, or sort of, if I know I'm going training, if I've got the time, just trying to chill out a little bit before. Obviously that's quite difficult between school and training, but that it might be maybe having a snack that gives you some more energy, because I find food is really good fuel. It's sort of the best that you can get. And for me, if I'm really tired and I know I've got to train, I'm like, okay, so maybe I'll have a carbohydrate bar or a Nature Valley bar or something like that, just to give me that little bit of energy, so that my muscles can do it. And I've sort of just got to say in my head, like, I'll feel better once it's done. You'll sleep better. But it can be very difficult to motivate yourself when you feel tired. And it's more just about remembering that, okay, there's not too much left in the day to do. I just got to get through training and I'll feel better for it at the end.
Okay, so hang on. Well, thanks for answering all my questions.
Well, thank you for coming on. It was really great to meet you.
Thank you. It was great to meet you too as well.
And good luck in the school games. I'll be watching.
Thank you.
The range is now closed and the warm-up is over for the athletes in our next race. The second one this morning, this is the under-17 boys individual laser run. We've got 18 athletes taking part in this event this morning, all of them starting pretty much, or standing at the start line, getting ready to get underway in a couple of minutes' time. This is the start list for this event. Once again, the numbers on the bibs are nothing to do with staggered times after yesterday. These are all to do with random allocations and the mass start that will be going in a couple of minutes. So, starting with number 1 is Archie Harding. Wearing number 2 is Thomas Johnson. In 3 is Toby Aberdeen. 4 is Zinzan Sargent. Wearing 5 is Stefan Chirita. Number 6 is Gordon Ballantyne. Wearing 7 is Ewan McKittrick. Number 8 is Dylan Robbins. Wearing 9 is Gerard McGrady. Wearing 10 is Alex Aris. In 11 is Zach Cooper. Wearing 12 is Finley McKay. 13 is Joshua Duncan. Jack Wallace is wearing 14. Jacob Headley 15. Ruben Corley is 16. Oliver Tomlinson is 17. And finally, Finn Bryce will be starting with bid number 18 today. Once again, it is a mass start. It is just this individual laser run for these under-17 male athletes with 4 laps of the track and 4 shoots as well. So the final preparations in place from our officials who are making sure that everything is ready as we get underway. The final briefing for our 18 athletes on the line as well. And for the vast majority of our athletes this morning here at Loughborough University on the Brockington cricket pitch, most of these did take part in yesterday's event as well. So maybe some tired legs out there, but the determination continues as it looks like we're ready to get underway in the under-17 boys race. And they are away in this individual laser run event. It's the sprint for all 18 of them over to their first shoot. As with all of the shooting across the weekend, it is the 5 green lights that they are aiming for. If they don't manage to get the 5 greens, then as soon as 50 seconds is up, then they can make their way. But at this early stage, it's anybody's go as we've got some quick and some sharp shooting from some of our athletes. And as we've said across the last couple of days, it is with these multi-sport events where it's not just one discipline you need to be good at, it's the consistency across the two. So it's not just the shooting that comes into play, but the running in this individual laser run as well. As Alex Aris makes his way out of the chute. And Ewan McKittrick waiting for the end of his time, and he is off as well. But leading the pack at the moment is Zinzan Sargent, closely followed by Ruben Coley. The two of them about a second apart. Not far behind them, Jacob Headley and Archie Harding. All 4 of those athletes performing very well yesterday in the combined event as part of the Modern Pentathlon weekend. And as we said, many athletes doing this today after the combined event yesterday. But a slightly different order, no staggered starts. It could be a very different podium at the end of this individual laser run. We'll see how things play out over the next 10 or so minutes for our leaders. As Alex Aris makes his way at the end of the first lap. And Ewan McKittrick as well. Both of them managing to make up some time and pace on the running leg. As we've said, it's the combination of the two that's important. As we have our race leaders making their way back for their second shoot. It's Ruben Corley who is first in, followed by Zinzan Sargent. In fact, Ruben making a bit of time up there. It's Jacob Headley who comes in third to the shoot, as well as many of our midfield athletes making their way in now. But you'd say on the second shoot, with around 15 seconds between the top 10, I mean, it is anybody's here, as a great performance there. And shoot for Jacob Headley. He is out already. And on to the run. as Ewan McKittrick makes his way in towards the chute as well, hoping, I'm sure, for a bit of a better shoot on this one, but still showing that determination and that self-belief to keep going and to try his absolute best this morning, which is inspiring to see and great to see at the School Games National Finals. All the athletes, we are seeing that from this morning. So is Jacob Headley making his way around at the end of the first lap on this second running leg. Around 3-4 seconds behind him is Zinzan Sargent, Dylan Robbins as well up there, Finn Bryce. As the noise and the sound of the team managers and friends and family giving advice and support going around, thinking about the pace and the encouragement and effort for these young athletes. And remember, all of these athletes under 17, incredible to see what they are able to show out there on the field of play at this age. And I'm sure for many of them, training up over the last few years through COVID lockdowns as well, and this year of course being able to welcome back spectators, friends and family, it's great to see here at Loughborough University, to give that little extra bit of energy and drive. As we see Jacob Headley making his way back in once again for the third shoot leg. And very closely followed by Ruben Corley, who's been up there, and Jack Wallace as well. Finn Bryce makes his way into the chute, as does Dylan Robbins. Oh, and 3 very quick away there. The shooting really mixing this competition up this morning and not making it easy to call who we are going to see with a medal around their neck at the end of this event. Still very much anyone's to play for. As Jared McGrady makes his way round on the run leg and comes in to shoot. And the athletes, as we get into the second half of the race, really thinking about the pace that they need to follow across this to give themselves the best opportunity to make up those places and cut off the seconds off of their final time. Impressive stuff out here at Brockington Cricket Pitch this morning. As Jack Wallace really puts in the power and the pace. But for all 18 of our athletes in this individual laser run for the under 17 boys, thinking about their race, thinking about their own focuses, and pushing to get themselves over the lines. As Alex Harris and Ewan McKittrick leave the chute and head off on another one of their running legs. It is Jacob Headley who is coming in again to lead the chute, and there is still 4 of them within around 5 seconds of one another. This last running leg is going to prove decisive when it comes to the medals. Zinzan Sargent quick away. And the friends and families and the team managers encouraging the athletes to relax into the chute. Jacob Headley, our race leader a few moments ago, away. Took him a little bit longer on the chute this time, taking his time to focus and make sure the accuracy on those shots. But still 600 metres of the next run leg to help. As Gordon Ballantyne also makes his way into the shooting range now. Around 10 of our athletes in the shoot at this moment in time, some coming up to the final.
Keep going, Stefan. Well done, Pinky. Push it. Great job, Stefan. Let's go. 2 laps. Let's go.
And Jacob Headley seriously pushing now. The pace is increasing for the Saltires athlete. Ruben Cowley for the Saxons, hot on his heels, around 3-4 seconds behind on this run leg. The team's becoming a lot more animated now as they're pushing their athletes to get every last ounce of energy in this final leg of the race. But who is it who is going to come over the line first and grab that gold medal? Well, there is your answer at the finish line. It's Dylan Robbins who's going to make it across first. Arms in the air in celebration. Zinzan Sargent makes it into silver position, both of them exhausted. And Jacob Headley, who makes it through in bronze, very close behind Ruben Cowley. A great run from him. Thomas Johnson coming through in 5th, those 5 athletes at the front. Incredible effort from them, as it has been from all 18 of them. Archie Harding makes his way down the finish straight, as does Jack Wallace with a sprint there. The Saltires runner ahead of Toby Aberdeen, running for Knights this morning. And again, as we've been saying with the Best of Sport Awards, the focus today, the sportsmanship in the finish area, inspiring to see as Stefan Chirita comes across the line. Finn Bryce wearing number 18. As Zach Cooper makes his way to the finish as well. Still athletes out on their running leg. Let's make sure we're supporting all of them as Gordon Ballantyne makes his way across the line, a few seconds ahead of Finley McKay. And Gerard McGrady comes across, running for Knights. A great couple of races for him across the 2 days. Oliver Tomlinson makes his way and finishes. But spectators and teams, please make sure that we are supporting those runners still out on their run leg at the moment. They have been fantastic today, and regardless of where you finish, it's the passion to get over the line that we are celebrating at the School Games National Finals this weekend. Joshua Duncan makes his sprint for the line. And an impressive time for Joshua. Well done to him this morning. Ewan McKittrick making his way to the line as well and across. And it's Alex Aris who finishes off our race for us, I believe. And that is the conclusion of the under-17 boys individual laser run this morning. Our next event will be the under-19 girls, expected to start just before 11 o'clock here at the Brockington cricket pitch at Loughborough University as part of the 2022 School Games National Finals.
when you come to Loughborough, there's so many different sports that we have on offer, whether you want to compete or whether you want to play recreationally. But our competitive side, we have our AU teams, so we hold taster sessions, so you can give things a go. And then if you want to, you can trial for the team. And then if you're successful on the team, you buy a membership and you compete for Loughborough in that sport.
Loughborough has been phenomenally successful at BUCS. BUCS is the British Universities and Colleges Sport Championships. So we have over 60 clubs that compete and train week in, week out. Thousands and thousands of students take part in the athletic union, and they all love to wear the kind of African violet purple shirt with pride and represent the university against other universities and against the best clubs in the country.
The buzz you get on Wednesday nights, the BUCS nights, just running out in front of all your friends, it's just a real buzz, walking through that tunnel, getting onto the pitch. Playing for Loughborough makes me feel really proud, just seeing the people that have been there, worn the shirt already, and what they're doing now. They're playing for England on the weekends, they're playing for the professional clubs.
Each athletic union club has their own student committee which help to run and facilitate their sport. It's really important for us that student development is just as much at the heart of what our athletic union clubs do, as well as the actual playing of sport. Everybody gets to use the same facilities here on campus. It's not like we've got facilities that are only for elite people or only for beginners. We all use the same facilities, tread on the same pitches, and we've got staff that are available to make sure that your experience is as good as it can be. We have an incredible array of coaching staff, performance support staff, so things like physio, strength and conditioning coaches that are always on hand to help people learn, develop and improve.
So the AU at Loughborough is just like completely different from any other university. The competitive side of it is really supported by the uni, and like the social side as well, alongside the competitive teams. Everyone seems to really be invested and come to support Loughborough when they're playing.
Loughborough will give you an incredible opportunity for sport, whatever your interest is, whatever level you want to be part of, and really have that life-shaping journey through university. This is the place that you can really develop and learn and enjoy yourself as well.
Hello, I'm Ali Oliver, Chief Executive of the children's charity, the Youth Sport Trust, and I'm really excited to share our new strategy with you, inspiring changemakers and building belonging. Children only have one childhood, and worryingly things have got really critical for their health and happiness. We are staring in the face of the next pandemic, where children are spending too much time online and not enough time playing together and playing with their friends. Unhappy, unhealthy children don't learn. When children don't learn, they don't achieve their potential in life, and we end up with a society that isn't fit for purpose. Sadly, this isn't new to us at the Youth Sport Trust. We have spent 27 years building brighter futures through the power of play and sport, changing lives for the better by getting young people active, playing together and experiencing the joy of movement. At the Youth Sport Trust, our vision is a future where every child enjoys the benefits that come from play and sport. And now there's never been a more important time for us to focus on this. Our strategy sets out to tackle this. Over the coming years, we'll harness the power of play and sport to help young people find a sense of belonging and raise awareness of the damaging impact of a life without play and sport. By helping young people feel a sense of belonging, we'll stop them being isolated, lonely, feeling anxious and bombarded by others constantly telling them how they should look, feel and be. We really need your support. A 4-year-old entering school this year will leave in 2035. They deserve a world where their health, happiness and well-being is prioritised. We're on a mission to try and create societal change, but we can't do that alone. We need a whole range of new change makers, teachers, families, young leaders themselves, politicians, the media, a range of people in public life who are equally concerned about the health and happiness of the next generation. So please join us, become a change maker, read our strategy and help us build a brighter future for young people through play and sport. Thank you.
There's so much respect for Loughborough because it generates good players but also like well-rounded people, and I think being here for 4 years I've really realised how much it's developed me as a person, not only as a badminton player.
The fact that it's on campus really helps with your sport because you've got the best facilities in the UK here, right at your fingertips.
So parasport is integrated through almost all of our offers at Loughborough. Of course, there are some sports where we need to have specialist provision for some para-athletes, but overall, most of our programmes are highly integrated so that you have disabled and non-disabled athletes able to train alongside each other. We've got fantastic facilities, fantastic coaches, fantastic support staff. Our alumni network extends throughout professional sport, and what that creates in the end is a Loughborough family, which really is there around you and supporting you as you move through your journey.
As a scholar, I get free physio support, so I can see physio whenever I like and it's for free. I get free S&C, so I have a strength and conditioning coach that works with me and my coach. Then I can see a nutritionist, which again, he ties in with my strength and conditioning.
It's all quite individualised, so the coaches will sit down with you and discuss like what you want out of the programme, what are your priorities, and they'll build a kind of a schedule that will suit you and your needs.
It makes everything easy because they all talk to each other and then they can talk to my coach and then everything's just in one place, and so it's just, yeah, it's ideal, to be honest.
One of the things I'm proudest of is that the average marks of our performance athletes are higher than the university average almost every year. We really care about people's degrees and we support them and make modifications to both their sporting programme and their education programme so that they can genuinely do both.
The reputation of Loughborough, it's there for a reason. It's known as the best because it is the best.
So our facilities are fantastic and it's hard not to get blown away by them. But the thing I would really sell us on is the environment, the culture and the people that you'll be around. People genuinely trying to be the best they can be. We've got people competing internationally across all sorts of sports and you can't really fail but to be motivated and inspired by that.
When you come to Loughborough, there's so many different sports that we have on offer, whether you want to compete or whether you want to play recreationally. But our competitive side, we have our AU teams, so we hold taster sessions, so you can give things a go. And then if you want to, you can trial for the team. And then if you're successful on the team, you buy a membership and you compete for Loughborough in that sport.
Loughborough has been phenomenally successful at BUCS. BUCS is the British Universities and Colleges Sport Championships. So we have over 60 clubs that compete and train week in, week out. Thousands and thousands of students take part in the athletic union, and they all love to wear the kind of African violet purple shirt with pride and represent the university against other universities and against the best clubs in the country.
The buzz you get on Wednesday nights, the BUCS nights, just running out in front of all your friends, it's just a real buzz, walking through that tunnel, getting onto the pitch. Playing for Loughborough makes me feel really proud, just seeing the people that have been there, worn the shirt already, and what they're doing now. They're playing for England on the weekends, they're playing for the professional clubs.
Each athletic union club has their own student committee which help to run and facilitate their sport. It's really important for us that student development is just as much at the heart of what our athletic union clubs do, as well as the actual playing of sport. Everybody gets to use the same facilities here on campus. It's not like we've got facilities that are only for elite people or only for beginners. We all use the same facilities, tread on the same pitches, and we've got staff that are available to make sure that your experience is as good as it can be. We have an incredible array of coaching staff, performance support staff, so things like physio, strength and conditioning coaches that are always on hand to help people learn, develop and improve.
So the AU at Loughborough is just like completely different from any other university. The competitive side of it is really supported by the uni, and like the social side as well, alongside the competitive teams. Everyone seems to really be invested and come to support Loughborough when they're playing.
Loughborough will give you an incredible opportunity for sport, whatever your interest is, whatever level you want to be part of, and really have that life-shaping journey through university. This is the place that you can really develop and learn and enjoy yourself as well.
Hello, I'm Ali Oliver, Chief Executive of the children's charity, the Youth Sport Trust, and I'm really excited to share our new strategy with you, inspiring changemakers and building belonging. Children only have one childhood, and worryingly things have got really critical for their health and happiness. We are staring in the face of the next pandemic, where children are spending too much time online and not enough time playing together and playing with their friends. Unhappy, unhealthy children don't learn. When children don't learn, they don't achieve their potential in life, and we end up with a society that isn't fit for purpose. Sadly, this isn't new to us at the Youth Sport Trust. We have spent 27 years building brighter futures through the power of play and sport, changing lives for the better by getting young people active, playing together and experiencing the joy of movement. At the Youth Sport Trust, our vision is a future where every child enjoys the benefits that come from play and sport. And now there's never been a more important time for us to focus on this. Our strategy sets out to tackle this. Over the coming years, we'll harness the power of play and sport to help young people find a sense of belonging and raise awareness of the damaging impact of a life without play and sport. By helping young people feel a sense of belonging, we'll stop them being isolated, lonely, feeling anxious and bombarded by others constantly telling them how they should look, feel and be. We really need your support. A 4-year-old entering school this year will leave in 2035. They deserve a world where their health, happiness and well-being is prioritised. We're on a mission to try and create societal change, but we can't do that alone. We need a whole range of new change makers, teachers, families, young leaders themselves, politicians, the media, a range of people in public life who are equally concerned about the health and happiness of the next generation. So please join us, become a change maker, read our strategy and help us build a brighter future for young people through play and sport. Thank you. Hello, I'm Ali Oliver, Chief Executive of the children's charity, the Youth Sport Trust, and I'm really excited to share our new strategy with you, inspiring changemakers and building belonging. Children only have one childhood, and worryingly things have got really critical for their health and happiness. We are staring in the face of the next pandemic, where children are spending too much time online and not enough time playing together and playing with their friends. Unhappy, unhealthy children don't learn. When children don't learn, they don't achieve their potential in life, and we end up with a society that isn't fit for purpose. Sadly, this isn't new to us at the Youth Sport Trust. We have spent 27 years building brighter futures through the power of play and sport, changing lives for the better by getting young people active, playing together, and experiencing the joy of movement. At the Youth Sport Trust, our vision is a future where every child enjoys the benefits that come from play and sport. And now there's never been a more important time for us to focus on this. Our strategy sets out to tackle this. Over the coming years, we'll harness the power of play and sport to help young people find a sense of belonging and raise awareness of the damaging impact of a life without play and sport. By helping young people feel a sense of belonging, we'll stop them being isolated, lonely, feeling anxious and bombarded by others constantly telling them how they should look, feel and be. We really need your support. A 4-year-old entering school this year will leave in 2035. They deserve a world where their health, happiness and well-being is prioritised. We're on a mission to try and create societal change, but we can't do that alone. We need a whole range of...
Wearing 8, Kirsty Mayer. In 9 is Lottie Silverton. Wearing 10 is Lauren Airy. In 11, Isla Winslow. Wearing number 12 is Harriet Wall. Number 13 is Rachel Warden. And number 14 is Jessica Stevens. And those are your 13 athletes that will be starting in this under-19 girls individual laser run this morning. Welcome to those of you joining us on YouTube as well. For the under-19s, remember, it's 5 running laps, so we're not going straight to the shoot. They will go on their first run leg, but there will still be 4 shooting opportunities throughout this race as well. Each of the run legs, 600 metres, 2 laps of our 300-metre track here at Brockington Cricket Pitch. And it's those 5 green lights that they're watching for in the shooting range. But it looks like the officials are ready to get this underway, so we hand over to them. And with that, the under-19 girls individual laser run is off. Remember, it is the run leg to start, 600 metres first and foremost, before they come in for their first shoot. As part of the warm-up a little bit earlier on today, loads of them, all the athletes, practicing the shooting here on the range and making the most of their opportunity to practice with the equipment that we have got here for the School Games National Finals. As our group of 13 make their way around on the first of these 2 laps on this first running leg. We haven't got the staggered starts that these athletes had yesterday. For those of you that are just joining us here at Loughborough University or on the live stream on YouTube, this is just an individual event. No swimming this morning to dictate the starts, which is why we have started with a mass start today. Leading away at the moment is Kirsty Mayer for the Saxons. She is leading about 2 seconds ahead of Grace McDonald for the Saltires. In fact, a few of the Saltires runners doing very well at the front. All 13 of them only a few seconds between the group at this early stage of the laser run. But it is Kirsty Mayer who is pushing ahead and trying to stretch as much of a lead as she can before she goes into the shooting range. And as always with the Modern Pentathlon, the important thing for our athletes is consistency across the different disciplines. And while there may just be 2 of the 5 disciplines being practiced today, it is still about ensuring the best performance in both of those, being determined and pushing yourself to make the most of each opportunity. As we get ready for the first shoot, a couple of minutes into this run, it is Kirsty Mayer who will make her way into bay number 8 first. Behind her, it is going to be Grace McDonald and Charlotte Narducci, both for the Saltires. In the top 3 at the moment. Behind them, Lottie Silverton and Isla Winslow for the night, making up the top 5. But all of the fields are going to be in with around 20 seconds between all 13 athletes. So it will come down to the shoot here, and very quick away for some of our athletes. As they try and calm the heart rates, stable the arms, and get those 5 green lights as quick as they can. Charlotte Narducci, who was one of the first 3 into the shooting range, she makes her way out now for the run leg. And we can see, as is always the way with the Modern Pentathlon, how the twists and turns of these laser runs can provide a bit of drama as we go through these events. As Harriet Wall makes her way out of the shoot, her first one in this. So it is Kirsty Mayer who is still leading at this moment in time. A great shoot from her and a strong first running leg. Quite a gap now. She has managed to open that one up at this part of the race. Isla Winslow and Lottie Silverton are in 2nd and 3rd at the moment. Then a group of Saltires wearing 1, 3 and 5, Susie Roberts, Grace McDonald, Charlotte Narducci, the 3 of them in 4th, 5th and 6th, but it is still early, not even halfway through this under 19 girls laser run.
Awesome running. Good range, 2 hand touch, long way to go. Go Millie!
From a spectator point of view, it's really interesting to see the different strategies that we've got at play with these athletes this morning, thinking about the pace that they're taking on their run legs, those that are really using it to catch up from the shooting, those that are using it to play the long game, and they're going to aim for that sprint at the end. But it's all about feeling comfortable and making sure that you can get the most out of your run, which is great to see the athletes focusing on this morning. As we welcome back into the shooting range for a second time Kirsty Mayer, she's made her way in with around about 10 seconds, I would say, between her and 2nd and 3rd. And in fact, Kirsty manages to make it out before 2nd and 3rd make it in. And it is now very close between 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, all within a few seconds of each other. The mid-range fight is going to be very interesting in this one, the midfield battle. Very strong and quick shoot from Isla Winslow there, representing Knights this morning. 5 lights very, very quickly for her.
Awesome, Millie, go!
As Tara Matheson and Harriet Wall make their way over into bays 2 and 12 for their second shoot of this under 19 girls individual laser run. But it is still Kirsty Mayer who is in front, wearing bib number 8. With the first lap of her third run done, that's halfway through her race. And that lead slowly increasing, using the strategy and using the legs in the run to just build that gap to a comfortable distance. Isla Winslow and Grace McDonald matching on pace now as well as they come to the halfway stage.
Lovely running, girls.
Susie Roberts now laying in 4th. Lottie Silverton, strong performance from her as well this morning. Lauren Airy and Charlotte Narducci as well, all of them within the touch of a medal. It really could still change in the second half of this race. And you can tell in all of these laser runs that we've had this morning when we do get into the second half, because the energy levels might be starting to drain, but the determination builds. You can see the focus on the athletes' faces, the team managers and the spectators willing them on, reminding them to stay comfortable in their strategy this morning. As once again Kirsty Mayer makes her way into the shooting range, and the accuracy on her shoot today is brilliant. She hits the 5 greens, she is off. It will be Grace McDonald for Saltires that will make her way into the shoot next, slightly ahead of Isla Winslow. About 3-second gap that's been built up between those two athletes over that last run leg.
Go on, Lauren. Go, Sarah, good girl, hang in.
It's just a question of who is going to be leaving first. And in fact, Susie Roberts, brilliant shoot from her, a blinder actually, which has managed to bring her up the order. Grace McDonald, Isla Winslow also in the shout. Both of them still very, very close. They have been throughout the whole of this laser race so far. There's plenty of our athletes in the shooting range now. Taking that deep breath, focusing on the target. Tara Matthewson is pulling away at the front. Grace McDonald behind her. We've got Susie Roberts as well, the 3 Saltires. But all of the athletes in this race putting their all into it. You can see how much this means to them to be competing in a national final at their level. And it is impressive as Kirsty Mayer comes into the shoot. And an incredibly quick shoot from her. The 5 greens on and she is off. Grace McDonald making her way into the shoot, as does Susie Roberts. These two teammates from Saltires have been neck and neck through a lot of this contest, encouraging each other, spurring each other on. And the two of them are off pretty neck and neck as well, together on their run leg. Isla Winslow makes her way out of the shoot as well and on to the run leg. As we get towards the end of this under-19 girls individual laser run. Again, many of today's athletes taking part in yesterday's combined events. This is day 2 legs now. They're going to be feeling a little bit tired, but they are not showing it in what we are seeing around the Brockington cricket pitch today. You wouldn't know that they ran these yesterday. As eyes cross to the finish line, your gold medalist approaches, and it will be Kirsty Mayer who will finish in first. A commanding lead through a lot of the race. The Saxons runner on the ground in exhaustion, unsurprising after a blistering time for the 3K run and those shooting sessions as well. A brilliant performance from her this morning, something very much to be proud of. And the spectators willing on the athletes, as are their teammates on the far side of the cricket pitch and the team managers and coaches around as well. It will be Saltire's Grace McDonald that takes the silver, crossing the line in second. In the battle of those two Saltire's athletes, it's Susie Roberts who will come over in third and take the bronze. Fantastic performance from our 3 medalists. Lovely to see the sportsmanship. As Isla Winslow comes through in fourth and over the line as well. Great performance from her to match yesterday's performance as well. Brilliant to see. Lauren Airy makes her way over the line in fifth. Charlotte Narducci in sixth for Saltires as well. 3 Saltires in the top 6. And you can see in that finishing hour the exhaustion on the faces of those athletes. They really have given everything for this one, as Millie Wicks is applauded across the line. And Rachel Warden makes her way as well to the finishing area, the Saltires runner. And as we said across the weekend, for those athletes that are still on the track at this point, it is inspiring to see the drive they've got just to make it over that finish line and make the most of it. As Anna Batsford does indeed make it over the finish line, followed closely by Harriet Wall, who is running for Knights. A sprint finish between these two, Jessica Stevens and Lottie Silverton not wanting to lose that position. And as we all do our bit here at the School Games National Finals across all 10 sports, we're encouraging everybody to do the same. Let's ensure that we are applauding every single one of our athletes as they make their way round the course and across the finish line. Around 150 metres to go for our final athletes. After what is not an easy event, this individual laser run. But every bit of energy and drive to bring her down the final straight. It's Tara Matthewson. Who finishes off our race and is met with a hug from the other finishers. The respect between these athletes, truly inspiring, these under-19s. And that is the end of our under-19 girls individual laser run this morning as part of the Modern Pentathlon programme here. We've got one more race to come a little bit later on. It is going to be the under-19 boys individual laser run, starting a little before 12 o'clock this afternoon. Then the medal presentations will be coming up after lunch at 1 o'clock for those of you watching online. For those of you here, remember there's still the opportunity to make sure that you are putting in your nominations for our Best in Sport Awards. Nomination forms for the athletes and the teams working here today over in the business building, and then for spectators they are over in the green tent by the entrance of the venue here today. And of course, there's plenty of opportunities for our athletes to continue focusing on their well-being outside of this. We've got the workshops from 100% and me, 100% me across the weekend, as well as the different education opportunities and workshops, and our athlete mentors who are around as well. For the Modern Pentathlon, it is Alistair Patrick Hesselton, who is the Modern Pentathlon mentor across the weekend. So make sure you get the opportunity to grab a selfie and say hello with a quick word from him.
Hiya. Okay, my name is Oscar Kelly. I compete for Great Britain in triathlon in the visually impaired category. I competed in the 2018 school games as well as the 2022 Commonwealth Games for Team England.
Hi, my name is Lily May Lancaster-Evans. I'm 13 years old and I train in Modern Pentathlon. I compete in laser run, fencing and swimming. I started in the sport when I was 8 months. My friend wanted to go to the training session and she wanted someone to go with, and I loved the session so much that I joined the club and carried on with the sport. Just a year later I qualified for the World Championships in Egypt and got 2 silver medals and a bronze medal. I have since competed in an international competition in Madeira, the European Biathlon and Triathlon Championships in Germany, the European Laser Run Championships in Weiden, Germany, and at the World Laser Run Championships in Budapest. Last year I was lucky enough to compete in the school games for laser run. Since then I've continued to train and compete. This year I became the under 15 laser run champion and under 15 tetrathlon champion.
Oh, I feel like you should be the mentor.
What inspired you to first get involved in your sport, and how did it feel competing in the nationals finals?
That's a tough one. So got a funny story about that. I was banned from cycling to school because of my visual impairment and some not so good cycling skills. And so I took cycling up recreationally outside of school on closed course stuff and a bit of velodrome work. And I met a really good friend of mine who also competed in the school games alongside me in 2018. And him and his mum was sort of like, well, here's triathlon, if you want to try it out. And I was like, well, I'll get bored of cycling eventually. And so I was like, I'd try out some duathlon stuff, which is running and cycling. I did all right at that against able-bodied athletes, so I sort of learned how to swim. And then from there I got picked up by the British Pathway, and they really pushed on some of those young athletes to try and develop us. And the first year that triathlon was in school games, I was lucky enough to compete.
Yeah. What is your biggest sporting or personal achievement?
I think it's got to be Commonwealth Games. It's pretty recent. It's a bit of a tough one, a bit of heartbreak. Unfortunately, we didn't get the result we wanted. But you know, we got 2 punches on the bike, which is very unfortunate. But we finished and finished 5th, which is for most people a good result. But I went there to win something, so you know, you're never happy unless you medal. But that's still just that was a crazy experience. Like jump up from doing World Championship stuff, so that was just amazing. And you have nothing close to a games event, and then to do a home games as well. It's just a dream, really.
Yeah. What is something you're passionate about outside of sport, and why are you proud of it?
Sleeping. if I'm honest, just trying to get trying to take a step away from sport. So I've got a dog called Storm, and I guess maybe him. But I don't really do much other than sport. It's probably unhealthy obsession, but it is what it is.
Yeah. What's your favourite sport out of the three?
Oh, that's a good one. It generally changes, and it changes depending on what I'm doing best in at the time. I've got to a point where I enjoy swimming now, which is always good. But I didn't enjoy swimming for a long time. But I think it's got to be running. Running's probably my favourite, because if I'm feeling a bit down, or I don't want to do some training, I'll go for a little jog, and I'll be straight back in the zone. And there's nothing like running quick. Running quick's really fun.
Yeah. How do you block out negative comment and messages that you receive on social media?
Block them. Usually block them, or I've been fortunate not to get tons of negative comments, but I'm like, most of the time I'm just like, who do you think you are? Like, why would you say that, first of all? But just what gives you the authority to say that to me, and you don't know me? So and then go down the normal routes of blocking and ignoring people, because it's not your fault they've got a problem with you.
How do you deal with loss or disappointment, both within and outside of sporting events?
That's a hard one. I'm fortunate enough that because I'm a visually impaired athlete, I race with a guide, and triathlon's usually an individual sport, but because I race with a guide, it's sort of more like a team sport for me, and because of that, I can sort of get a bit of support from him, and I can give support back. And we've got a surrounding team around us all the time, the other athletes, and the majority of them will know what it's like to have a race that doesn't go your way. It's very unusual. You get a race that everything goes how you want it to go, but it's part of the sport, and it's something you definitely got to learn. And I think definitely as a younger athlete, it's a lot harder to learn without having those races.
How do you get focused ahead of competing in a major sporting event?
The range is now open for warm-up for the athletes in our final of the races this morning. It's the under-19 boys individual laser run. Once again, the range is now open for your warm-up, and we expect to get the race underway at around about 11:50 this morning.
It sounds funny, like I went through early registration and everything, but I got down super early, and I just had a little nap. I was like, you know what, I'm going to chill out, get some tunes going. I sort of just had a little nap for half an hour before setting up all my transition and everything, and doing all my warm-ups, and it got me in the zone. We have something called a dry rope, which is basically like a massive hoodie, and so I had that on and headphones in, try and block out the crowds a bit when I went for my swim warm-up and everything. But just sort of stayed very chill, got a vibe going with the music, and laughing around with Charlie, and just sort of kept it light, I guess. And then when it came down to getting onto that pontoon, 2 minutes to go, and the guys in front of us went off, and then you get in the water, and that's when I really focused. I looked at Charlie and I was like, this is what we've been training for, this is what we're doing, stick to the plan. And did stick to the plan, but that first bit was really good. And that for me, not focusing all day, only focusing that last few minutes before racing, really helps when things do go off course like they did in that race. And I had the mental strength, and I wasn't too tired out just to go, all right, this has happened, we've got to move on, what are we going to do? and push through.
Yeah. What inspired you to first get involved with the sport?
It's probably more that I'm not really good at it. Like, I'm not really that good at anything else. I'm like, I've got to be good at something, and I wasn't a sporty kid when I was growing up. I'm very much that kid that was picked last for all sports stuff, especially if it required a ball. I was not. I could run, but that was about it. And but I just sort of thought, you know what, I'll give it a go. I enjoy cycling. You know, what's the worst can happen? I can take part. I can do a couple of achievements. Like, you usually get a bit of street cred saying you're a triathlete, as it is. And you know, it sort of just went from there, and it's really changed my life. And he told me, I think when I started, he told me 6 or 7 years ago that I'd have competed at the level that I have. Yeah, I would have told you you're crazy, but I'm also thankful that I gave it a go.
Yeah. What direction do you see your career moving in the next 5 years?
Oh, next 5 years. So late this year, go back to World Champs and hopefully redeem our crash last year. I'm a bit of a thing going with big events and either crashing or get mechanical failures. But hoping to go back to World Champs and do well there, and then get on UK sport funding is the next big plan. But then it's really locking in and trying to qualify for Paris Paralympics and medal in there. At the end of the day, that's what we do the sport for. We do the sport not to compete. We do the sport to win. Well, decide. And then from there, it's hopefully next Commonwealth Games, paratriathlon, my category in paratriathlon still in there, hopefully, and it'd be trying to redeem ourselves there as well, and win lots of medals in the meantime.
If you had to do any sport other than triathlon, what sport would you do?
Oh, I don't know. There's some pretty cool stuff. It depends if I still have my visual impairment. If I didn't, then I'd probably do some motor racing, or I've done quite a lot of sort of white water kayaking for fun, and that's also pretty awesome. But I'm now quite limited in what I can do. So one of the two there. If I still have my impairment, I'd probably like track athletics or something like that. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. How are you able to juggle having a social life alongside the intensity of training for your sport?
That's a hard one. That's something else I think you got to learn as an athlete. You know, you've got, especially a young athlete, you've got to be able to go to your friends, go, no, I've got to go and do training. I've got to go do this, or I've got to get my homework done so I can go to training later or whatever, depending on what your arrangement is with your parents. But then again, it's really important to have a social life, because if you don't, things can go sideways, and mental health is really, really important at the end of the day. And so, yeah, I try and make sure I've got, don't want to call them appointments, but time slots when I've got like going out with a friend each day or something, making sure I'm not just sat in my flat, or I'm talking to, say, a friend that doesn't live close enough to me on the phone or something, like really making time to make that effort to see someone every day, because it is really important, no matter how sociable you are in the first place. Like, I think it's something really important to try and learn.
Yeah. What inspired you to how did it feel competing in the national finals?
It was a really cool experience, actually. So we have something called a blue carpet race, which is basically a race. It's usually an international race. They whip out the blue carpets in transition, and it's just something to add to the fact, not only the visual factor, but like even on the foot, it just feels different. And they did really cool stuff where they got blue carpet out, and it was a really cool experience for a lot of young triathletes, not only us as para triathletes, but they had all the able-bodied lot, and it was a cool experience for them. And it was pretty close to like a communist environment in terms of actually a combined games environment. Sort of, you got to see loads of other sports being around, and for us, we got to be alongside the able-bodied athletes, and it was really the first step to go, this is really cool. This isn't just doing a race around the lake. This is like proper cool stuff, and we've got like little plaques and everything saying our names. And yeah, it's quite specific to triathlon, but it gave a very professional feeling to a sport, and sort of going, no, this is something we want to do. And it was something I was super proud of competing in for a long time.
Yeah. What would your favourite country to compete in be?
So what was that?
What would your favourite country to compete in be?
The UK. What do you mean? Do you mean racing or race sport? Yeah. Okay, like, racing. I don't know. That was my favourite one so far. Has probably been. Oh, I don't know. I'm a bit weird. I like a wet race. So actually, racing in the UK works pretty well for me. But Canada was pretty fun as well. Canada was a cool place to race in. But I honestly quite like racing in the UK. It's I don't have to travel. That saves a lot of stress. I don't know. It'd have to be something really with good views though, if it was to travel.
Yeah. In your opinion, would weather conditions affect your race?
Yeah, massively. So yeah, if it's windy, then water's generally choppier. So we swim open water. So even if it's a lake or sea or whatever, that gets choppy. That'll really change who swims quicker, who swims slower. And then like a wet bike will generally be slower. That's questionable. Me and my guy Charlie generally just do the exact same thing and do pretty similar times because it's something that we enjoy a bit more. It's something he's used to racing in. It's something that I'm used to racing in. And then the run, it doesn't really matter, if I'm honest. But yeah, no, it can probably slow a race down by a good minute for some people. So and it's just the mental factor as well. I guess, especially for those athletes that are, say, Spanish athletes that aren't quite used to the rain as much, or something like that, where you've got people more used to it a bit, yeah, used to it. But then again, if it's too cold, then we can't race, then we can't swim. So that's our races get changed to a triathlon there, and there's quite a lot there and trying to keep warm.
Yeah. What sort of training would you do in a day?
In a day, unfortunately, quite a bit. So triathlons, because we've got 3 sports, we've got to train 3 disciplines, and it also just means we generally have more volume than pretty much any sport. I'm fortunate that I don't do Ironman distance, which is ridiculously long, and so I don't have to do super crazy hours. But I generally do at least 2, if not 3, training sessions a day. Usually, like I swim 5 times a week, run 3 or 4 times, and cycle everything in between, plus a couple of gym sessions. So it really just depends what the day is. For example, today is Monday. I've just got a cycle and a swim, pretty easy day. But tomorrow I'd have a hard swim, gym, and a hard run, which is when you start questioning why you do the sport.
Which competition are you most proud of?
I think early career we've got to be school games. I didn't necessarily do as well as I wanted there as well, but it was my first sort of sense that I need to start training, and because you're around people that you knew already. Well, for at least us, we've got quite a tight community, and got a bit of pride for racing from where you're from, and yeah, and then it's got to be and early international career would have been world champs last year. Pretty proud of that, how we handled the situation that we got put in, and then just got to be commies again this season. It's keep on going back to it, but it's crazy and racing against in front of a home crowd, and it's just I don't know, it's an amazing experience. And no matter where you come away from races, like there's just some races where you're just proud of what you've done, proud of how you handled yourself and how you've represented your country.
Yeah. What competitions are you looking forward to competing in?
Paralympics, hopefully. Paralympics, commies again, and many more races in between. I don't think there's really too many extra steps that I can go without. I guess it's more results and competitions, but I'm hoping to be around for a while. So 3 or 4 Paralympics would be nice.
Yeah. How would you balance your diet each day, like what you eat and stuff?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, it's important to get a balanced diet. I'm not a very good example. It's something that I try to work towards. We all have our flaws, and for me, it's nutrition. But we basically usually get told eat as much as you can, because we do a lot of training, and there's you got to fuel it. So different sports, you'll have different suggestions from coaches, from nutritionists, and we get told have a balanced diet, but as much carbs, as much protein as you can get in. How frequently you get protein post sessions, during sessions. There's a lot that goes into it, and I've not mastered it at all yet. Unfortunately, it's a work in progress.
Yeah. Who inspires you to do sport, like people who do sport or out of sport?
For the final time this morning, the range is now closed for our warm-up for our fourth and final race, which is about to get underway. Welcome back here to Loughborough University and to the Brockington cricket pitch, where we are about to have the under-19 boys individual laser run. Much the same as the 3 events beforehand, we have got a lineup of 13 athletes, many of whom competed yesterday as well, aiming to get themselves another chance of a medal. So let's find out who we have got on the start list. Starting wearing number 1 is Ollie Hodgson. Wearing 2 is Duncan McDonald. In 3, Malachi Clark. In 4, Malik Roustay. In 5, William Barlow. Wearing 6, Jack Collett. Wearing 7, Jordan Phillips. Number 8, Alexander Jokic. Number 9, Tom Sedanadom. In 10, Reece Crawford. Wearing 11, Freddie Brassy Barlow. Number 12, Blake Headley. And number 13, Benjamin Wilkinson. Now again, for those of you joining us just for this final race of this morning, it is a mass start. All of our athletes will begin at the same time, and unlike yesterday, the numbers have been attributed to their bibs. It's nothing to do with an earlier event. They have been randomly allocated for the start list for this one. Being an under-19 event, it is going to be 5 laps, or in fact I should say 5 running legs, each of 600 metres around the track here at Brockington cricket pitch, and there'll be 4 opportunities to shoot, each time looking for those 5 green lights in order to move them on and hopefully grab themselves a medal this morning. The conditions picked up a little bit. The wind is a bit stronger than it was at the beginning of the day today, but it's still around 20 degrees here at Loughborough University, as it looks like the officials are ready to get us underway. And 13 of them are off for the under-19 individual laser run. Once again, being the under-19s, they will go for the running leg first. It's not the short sprint into the shoots that we saw from our under-17s earlier this morning. But we have got here 13 athletes, many of whom took part in yesterday's combined event. Today we focus just on the laser run element. It is going to be the run and the shoot that will dictate who it is who will be standing on our podium a little bit later on today and receiving themselves one of the school games national finals medals. So a quick pace off the start for the majority of our field. Leading after the first lap is Jordan Phillips for Saltires, who is coming round. His teammate Reece Crawford just behind him. Behind them, Malik Roustet and Jack Collett are the first four. But of course, there's plenty to go in this run yet. And it's all about pacing across the 5 different run legs and the 4 shoots as well. Running faster can increase that heart rate, increase the breath rate, and make it harder for the shoot. So it's all about playing a strategy and making the best consistent attempt overall. And with around 500 metres done on that first leg of the run, we're getting ready to welcome our athletes in for the first of the 4 shooting sessions into the range. It is going to be Jordan Phillips who is leading the pack into the shoot after the first running leg. Behind him it is Reece Crawford and Alexander Jobbik are going to be the leading 3 you would say, coming into this one. But we have got around 8 athletes who are coming into the shooting range pretty close together. So it's all now down to those green lights. 5 green lights is what they need to get in order to move on. If they don't after 50 seconds, then they will be able to move on. But of course it'll be quicker to get the 5 green lights. And in fact, a very good performance there from is number 10 by the look of it, Reece Crawford, who looks like he is off and leading at the end of that first shoot.
Well done.
Jonathan McDonald also a promising performance against the Saltires, doing very well at the beginning of this under-19 individual laser run for the boys.
Well done, guys. Well done.
There's still a long way to go yet.
Well done. Well done, Blake. Well done, guys.
So all of our athletes on to their second run leg. At the moment it is Reece Crawford who is leading from his teammate Duncan McDonald. Around a 10-second gap between those 2 athletes at this moment in time on the second run leg of the race. Behind them it is number 6 of Jack Collett running for the Knights, and William Barlow is behind him wearing number 5. Again, the whole of the field pretty close together at this moment in time.
Well done, Will. Doing really good.
Which is promising to see as we get
stuff, guys. Well done.
Around a third of the way into this individual laser run for the under-19 boys. Our 13 athletes all running on second day legs after that combined event yesterday. They just had to swim yesterday morning. They've already done a laser run yesterday afternoon. So for all of them, it is on tired legs. But it is Reece Crawford who will be coming into the shoots for a second time. He is leading the way at the moment. Behind him, Duncan McDonald still managing to keep up with the pace and try and maintain that gap as best he can. And as Reece Crawford makes his way off, Jack Collett comes into the shoot in 3rd place. William Barlow will come in 4th, and Jordan Phillips of Saltires will be coming in 5th position. Already some changes in that running order.
Well done, you smashed that.
From the beginning of the race.
Well done, Jack.
Well done, Jack, smashing it. Good stuff, Will.
So William Barlow and Jack Collett now off onto their 3rd running leg. as our race leader Reece Crawford comes round for the second lap of his third running leg. That means he is now halfway through this laser run. And still a commanding lead ahead of Duncan McDonald, who is doing brilliantly, it must be said, in this event, in maintaining that gap, not losing any more distance.
Go on, Ben.
Keeping Reece within his sights and doing the best that he can do, putting every bit of effort in and determination across the event this morning. Still in third place, Jack Collett for Knights. He's running around in third at this moment in time.
Well done, Jack. Doing really well. Keep going. Well done, Jack. Really good. Well done.
And Tom Sadadon as well has managed to make up a position, as has Freddie Brasi Barlow. Two of them managing to overtake Alexander Drovic and Reece Crawford for Saltires, who have slipped back a couple of positions, but still early on in this event. In fact, Reece Crawford coming in for his next shoot, I should say. That's how far he is ahead at the moment of some of the other athletes. Reece making his way in. His main opposition in Duncan McDonald coming in behind. A couple of seconds, I'd say, the gap has shortened on that last running leg.
Go on, Malik. Go on, Malik. You're doing so well. Keep it up. Keep pushing, mate.
Stay with him.
Well done, guys. Keep
The
pushing.
shooting proving an opportunity for the athletes to close up as our race leader, Reece Crawford, makes his way out. Again, similar time to last time. Jack Collett comes in third, right behind. And it's 5 greens for Duncan McDonald, who leads out of the shooting range. And the battle for the midfield continues to heat
Jack,
up.
smashed it. Solid shoot. Well done.
As Jack Collett makes his way out and back on to his fourth run of the 5. Remember, there are 5 600-metre runs as part of this under-19 boys laser run. 3 kilometres in total they'll be running across the event.
Well done, Freddie. Good stuff. Keep pushing.
Testing their speed and stamina as well as accuracy on the shooting.
Well done, Reece.
As is the spirit, of course, of modern pentathlon across multiple disciplines.
Well done. Well done, Malachi. Doing so good. Well done. Well done, Ollie. Keep pushing.
Jordan Phillips making his way out of the chute.
Go on, Jack. You're doing so good. Keep it up, mate. Well done, Malik. Good stuff.
But it is still our race leader, Reece Crawford, that we are keeping an eye on.
That's it, Ben.
As he comes in for his 4th and final shoot in this individual laser run.
Go on, Malachi, doing really good.
Duncan McDonald making his way in as well. He has closed that gap up by a couple of seconds, now pushing as much as he can in the run.
Well done.
But a strong shoot from Reece Crawford there. 5 green lights and he is off for his final 600 metres.
Well done, keep pushing.
Go on, Ollie.
Well done, Ollie, keep going. Keep going.
As Jack Collett makes his way in to the chute.
Go on, Jack. Well done, Malik, you're doing so well. Keep pushing.
And Duncan McDonald is away. He is still in 2nd place at the moment. That silver medal looking likely at this time, but still 600 metres away from him in the finish line.
Yes, Jack, go on.
And Jack Collett getting
Last
his 5 green
now,
lights
mate. Go
as
for
well
it.
and running off in 3rd. He is the one to chase down for the last chance on that podium this morning.
Well done, Reece, smashing it. Go on, Will. Last 600 metres now, you got it.
As we get towards the last stages of this under-19 boys individual laser run, the grit is showing on the faces of all 13 athletes now as they dig deep to give every little bit of energy and effort that they can to make every second count in this race today.
Well done, Duncan.
And our race leader is on his way around to the finish line. It's not going to be long before we find out who is going to be taking the gold. And it's been a commanding lead for him all the way around as Reece Crawford for the Saltires makes his way down to the finish line and will take first place and the gold in the under-19 boys individual laser run. A very impressive run from him this morning. Commanding lead all the way through. As we wait to find out who will be taking the silver, it looks like it will be Duncan McDonald, who again tried to bring the race to his teammates. He's wearing bib number 2, and that is where he will finish. Second position, a silver medal for him. Great performance and one to be proud of from Duncan McDonald. And now it comes down to the silver. A sprint finish from Jack Collett. Some good shooting from him made sure that he secured that third position. A very worthy bronze medal for the Knights Club runner. There's the 3 finishes and medalists make it over the line. Still 10 of our athletes out on the course at the moment between the run and the shoot. And even if they don't finish with a medal, they want to finish with the pride of getting over the line, which is what William Barlow is doing now, coming across the line in 4th position. A great performance from him. Some strong sprint finishes from both Tom Sadmenden and Freddie Brassey Barlow, who make their way across as well. Both of those running for Saxons today, the 2 teammates finishing almost neck and neck. A sprint finish for Jordan Phillips as well, the Saltires runner wanting to make every single metre count as he comes towards the end. Behind him, Malachi Clark finishes across the line, as does Alexander Jovkic as well. Some impressive runs and results from these under-19 athletes today. As Ollie Hodgson, wearing bib number 1, makes his way down and across to the finish line. High-fiving his competitors and teammates across. Again, that brilliant spirit that we're seeing in every one of our Modern Pentathlon events here this morning and across the weekend. Malik Rouste makes his way to the finish as well, managing even to make a smile to his fellow competitors as he makes his way over the line. And let's keep the applause continuing as we welcome our last couple of athletes who are making their way towards the finish area as well. The pride and achievement of finishing a race. Number 12 is Blake Headley. He is making his way to that finishing line, supported by the crowd, his team and the supporters in the middle of the Brockington cricket pitch here at Loughborough University today. And let's urge on our final athlete. An admirable performance from Benjamin Wilkinson. Fist clench as he gets every last ounce of energy out and finishes off for us our under-19 boys individual laser run. Congratulations to all of the athletes in this and all 4 of our races this morning. The medal presentation will be at 1 o'clock this afternoon after lunch, so please do join us for that. And in the meantime, for those of you that are here at the School Games Live at Loughborough University, this is an opportunity over lunch to make sure that you do go and fill out one of those Best in Sport award forms. Nominate one of our athletes and one of our volunteers for showing the 7 school values of determination, honesty, passion, respect, self-belief, teamwork and eco-friendliness, all of which we have seen across the action this morning. And you could be, tomorrow we'll be awarding 1 athlete and 1 volunteer an award based on those values as well. That's all from us for now. For those of you on the live feed on YouTube, we'll be back at 1 o'clock for the medal ceremony, as we will be here at Loughborough University for the School Games National Finals, which is being brought and delivered by the Youth Sport Trust.
So, hi there. My name is Samuel Ingram. I'm a former performance judoka, and I competed for Great Britain in the major events were 2008 Paralympics, the 2012 Paralympics, and the 2016 Paralympics. I achieved a bronze and a silver, and on my third attempt, I just missed out on a medal. But yeah, I've had a long and varied career in sport.
So hi, I'm Brady Chambers, and I'm currently going to my second year of the school games to play wheelchair tennis. Last year I went over with one of my partners, Nathan McCabe, who currently does wheelchair basketball he was in the Commonwealth Games there, and we both won a silver medal in the men's doubles.
Okay.
So we did, and yeah, so I really enjoy it, and I'm currently also playing wheelchair basketball and wheelchair rugby as other side sports alongside this. So yeah, it's pretty good, and the tennis is great. I love going over and experiencing it, especially last year. It was my first time, and I was expecting just to come home with nothing, but actually it's just sitting over there, but I have my medal and all, so it's great.
Great stuff, great stuff. So have we explored any questions for sort of about performance or lifestyle and such like? Have you got
I just wanted
loaded up?
Yeah, I've got a few. So first one's really, how do you cope with defeat or disappointment, whenever you're playing? Because I know when I'm playing last year, I lost my first match in the singles just due to a lot of nerves, but then right after that I was fine. So I was just always looking for anything tips wise and how to cope with it.
Yeah, so I'd say there's different points of failure. We'll talk quickly about both of them. So obviously within the circumstance you just said there, sometimes within all sorts of different sports, but sometimes you can still lose and continue in the tournament. So in judo, you can go into, if you get to, depends how the competition is structured, but if you get into certain areas of the tournament, you can lose and go into the repechage. So you can still have a chance to either get a bronze medal or get a placing. So that's one type of failure. So that's match failure. And that's something that you have to deal with very quickly. You can't really go into the ins and outs of why it happened and such like, but you can sort of address the issue there and then. I lost to Mr. X or Mrs. Y, and actually I've got another event to do or another match to do. I've got to pick myself up, get myself back in the game. You'd normally be supported by your coach or teammates in this regard, because they say, and this is the point in which you can probably make more excuses for yourself just to get through the day, rather than address big issues about technicalities of sport and this, that, and the other. So I would never advise anyone to sort of sugarcoat their sort of sporting experience, but this is probably the one time within a day's competition you can sugarcoat it, because you need to be in a good mood going forward in the day. There's no need to dwell on things when you've actually got a job to do still. You need to focus on doing that job. So there's that sort of failure. The other sort of dealing with losses is, so within the sport of judo, there's lots of points of failure, so you have to get very good at being able to deal with it, because it's a daily occurrence. Within training, you get thrown on your back or someone becomes more dominant of you, and it would be the same in tennis where someone's just got a point past you. That's a failure, right? So we have to be able to consider these things, technically understand them. So why is it happening? Am I doing something incorrectly, or actually am I not reacting in time for whatever they're doing, your opponent is doing? And with the sort of longer term failure, you can really take your time to assess, well, why is this happening? Is it something in the match I'm not doing? As in, am I not physically capable, haven't got the strength, the capacity? Do I understand the rules, as in the technicalities around strategy and such like? And actually, is there anything I can get from my coaching team and support staff to get an edge on that, you know?
Yeah.
And that's how I always dealt with failure. I actually saw failure as a kind of positive because it gives you an opportunity to learn. Winning is so easy because, you know, I did, you know, I regret this within my own career. I did very little reflection after winning. I did a lot of reflection after losing, and it's probably the best point to reflect is when you're winning because you've got the right recipe, you're doing the right things. But it was almost like a free ticket to not put the extra work in after the event. But I would say dealing with it is categorizing it into your head. Is it a point of failure or is it a point to learn? You know, and I would say the healthy way is to say it's a point to learn. And I think coaches are probably something to help you through that as well, because it's an opportunity for them to learn as well.
Yeah.
About who you are and what you do with your skills. You know. So.
Yeah, that's all right. Just
what would you say about it?
The problem with me is whenever I do something bad or, you know, lose focus and lose something, I get into that bad mindset where like, oh, I can't do this, you know, or I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. You know, I'm always thinking negative and never actually looking and seeing, you know, well, actually, it's all right. I can still do better, you know, or I can do this to improve.
I would say it's always good to focus on something very small to get you back in the game, right? So, for example, in judo, there's all sorts of wrestling techniques and so on and so forth, but there's little triggers that make me do big things. I know that if someone attacks me, I need to move away. I know that naturally. I know that if someone's trying to throw me, I need to brace it. But actually, my coach would have little triggers. One for me was my posture would be bad. So he'd say eyes, and I would look up automatically and adjust my posture. Now, he didn't have to say, adjust your posture. You know, he just had to say a little trigger, and it got me back into the zone of this is how I need to compete. And all the big things came natural. So if it is a point in which you do something incorrectly and you need to get back into that focus, it might be, right, take my line, bounce my ball, do the next thing. Like have a little routine because you know how to serve, you know how to return a ball, you know, so it's about just getting your head back into that mindset as quickly as possible and not letting your mind drift, because if it drifts, it can drift forever.
Yeah,
you know?
That's something I can start to work on now, because right now my coach Adam is taking me for sort of like private lessons for training up until September when I leave. So that's something I can work on, because I know, like you said, you know, I know how to do everything, but as soon as that bad mindset hits me, I'm like, oh, I know I don't know how to do this. I can't serve properly, or I can't return properly. So
one of the biggest examples, or the most sort of clearest examples I can see in my head now, and it's something that we have to sort of be careful as well about, because these trigger things can become obsessive with people, performance-y people. We get a bit obsessive about behavior. With Nadal's touching his face, his nose and his ears.
Yeah,
we all know that. He's not doing that because he really wants to touch his nose and his face. It's become habitual, like habit. But that's the moment in probably which he's thinking about what he needs to do to win the next point, you know, and the touching his nose and ears is the crutch that allows him to do that, you know. It's these are little tiny finite bits of performance now, but these are the bits that make the difference between winning and losing. So have a routine to focus on getting back into, and it won't be, oh, let's just focus. It'll be deliver the ball, or it'll be state your position on the pitch or mat or whatever you want to, you know, your sport, and you'll have your own little triggers. But get good at being able to sort of put your finger on the trigger and ready to pull.
That's all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So another question I've sort of been thinking about just before I went on was, how did you, when you began, you know, your journey into judo, how did you develop from where you were? Like, how did you get, you know, to where you are now? Because for me, like, obviously in Northern Ireland, I'm very small, so I am. So there's only very few of us that play. So all the other tournaments are in England, so means I have to travel and stuff. So I've only been to very little ones, and I want to know, especially for other sports, how do I get from where I am now?
Yeah,
you know, especially because I'm going towards 18 soon, so I have a bit more flexibility, you know.
So what I did, this is a big question, and this is one that you have to obviously have your parents involved or support around you involved in this question. So I'm very good at copying people. You know, when someone's got a skill and I'd like to learn it, I found myself, even in my early life, just standing next to people, learning from them, right? And then I'd be able to do the skill. I find it very easy to, in particular myself, learn visually, ironically, because I can't see very well. But what I did was I grew up in Coventry, and I lived in Coventry and trained, and there was a good judo club there and such like. But I knew that that wasn't enough for me. And I knew that I had to find the best people that I could copy my behavior off. And that wasn't just judo techniques, that was behavioral and social issues as well. Like, actually, how do I become one of these people in the environment? So I moved from Coventry in England near Birmingham up to Edinburgh, where there were a multitude of Olympians. And I was actually the only Paralympian, but judo is a very inclusive sport where Olympians and Paralympians train exactly the same. So there were people that I knew I would learn from. There were people that I came and tested the water. I visited a couple of times to make sure I got on with people, if I liked the environment, so on and so forth. But I went to different training bases within Britain. So I went to, not Dartford at the time, it was Bath University that had a dojo. And I went down to Camberley, the dojo, and I tried Edinburgh. And not that I didn't get on with the other places, I just fitted in better within Edinburgh, and the level of performance at the time in the other athletes was highest. So I knew that these are the guys doing the business at the highest level. So I literally packed my bags, made a date, found a room with some other judo guys, moved in there. By this point, I was fortunate enough to have already had some success, and I was UK Sport funded. So I had an APA from UK Sport that allowed me to pay for my accommodation and so on and so forth. So it wasn't as though I had to get a job on top, which would have been another barrier, obviously. So for me, it was about making a big leap. I'd already left home, I'd already been to university and so on and so forth. So those things you have to deal with as well. Like, I knew that I could already cook for myself and clean for myself. And it seems all very easy until you've got to do it all, you know, but I'd already left home. I left home when I was 16, so I'd had lots of practice, and then I went sort of full-time in judo when I was about 22, 23. So, you know, I'd had much time to be alone and support myself generally alone. And actually just move into the best judo environment was the key for me. And one thing led to another, and it literally did pay off, you know. And also, it made long life. I made long life friends, and I met my wife, and you know, many other things happened because I was in a different environment, supported by judo. You know, so it is about making. You have to really understand what you want to do within your sporting career, and at some point, you have to take a risk. And it's okay for it not to work out. It's okay to go try it for 2 years and go, I don't like the training, or my abilities aren't there, or will never be. For example, it doesn't matter how much long distance running I do. I'm not going to be a long distance runner. I'm too big. I'm a terrible runner. You know. So, and if I tested that out, you have to be able to say this isn't for me, as well as this is for me. You know. At some point you have to get to the top. You know, I'd say in your position at the moment, use all the resources you can, your gyms, your competitions, your so on and so forth, around where you are. Try and be dominant in those areas as much as possible, and then transition to trips away, and then try and find an environment that you fit into, and you know, that you think that can support you. And if you've got the double-edged sword of linking that with something else in your life, such as education, you're laughing then, because not only can you play tennis, meet some new pals, you can also get your education done, you know, simultaneously, you know. So but there is risk involved. But that's part of sport.
That's what I've been thinking, you know, because over here, it's not that I'm stuck, but I'm just very limited to what I can do. You know, like there is a few people, guys that are older than me in chairs that I've played against, you know, in competitions, and they've went well. And I've always thought about maybe going to Loughborough University, you know, just to see because of all the facilities, because I'm a very active and sporty person, you know, I can't go without any of that. So I've always thought, you know, maybe give it a shot and see, will this work out? Because then I'd be close to everything and I can participate in a lot more than, you know, what I can over here.
Well, actually, I when I left home at 16, I went to Loughborough College, and I wasn't involved in. I did lots of sport. Well, I wasn't involved in sort of higher level judo at that point. But yeah, the environment down there is extremely sporting, and there is so many different sports going on and such like. And it is not central England, but very close to. So it's just something that you have to be ready to do in terms of, actually, am I ready to move away from home? It's a big leap, you know. But like I say, if you can combine that with your education and your sporting career, no doubt you will have fun and you'll develop. You'll also meet loads of people. There's loads of opportunity to meet people. So, and even if it doesn't work out, you'll go and get a degree, and you might have a, you know, group of friends or a partner at the end of it anyway. You know, lots of people go into university, I think, thinking, I want to be a professional runner or tennis player or so on and so forth. And it doesn't work out. And that's okay as well, you know, because you still get the benefit. You know, the benefit is in the challenge, not in the result.
Yeah. Sort of just, it just came into my head there. It's sort of off topic question, but how did you cope, you know, during your time in high school, you know, with your disability? You know, because at the minute I've just completed my GCSEs and I'll be going in the sixth form, and then obviously hopefully uni after that. And it's you know, just knowing, because I still have not that you know, just a bit of self-conscious, you know, I can tell people are still staring at me a bit when I'm out and stuff, you know, just how you just block that out.
I think it's a thing that will probably never go away from you, and it's a realization within our lives as disabled people. I had the conversation the other day with someone that, you know, so I've got a visual impairment, which on face value, people don't think, oh, you know, Sam's got a visual impairment, but it's not that bad. But actually in sunlight, I squint a lot. I always wear sunglasses. I can't see very well in busy areas, but I'm good at hiding it, right? But I also know, so people don't think, well, I'm not even hiding it. I'm just trying to fit in, right? But people don't make the assumption that, oh, you can't do normal things such as drive a car or such as read a bus number when it's coming towards you, right? So then you start to go, oh, actually, I understand that there's things I clearly can't do. And I think that's one thing that we have to do as disabled people, go, there's some stuff that will restrict us, or not we can't do, it's just a different way of doing things. I found out the bus number by stopping the bus and asking the man. He's not very happy about it. I get the bus number, right? But it's one of those things where we have to realize that it's a reality. Our disability is a reality. And all we can do is concentrate on ourselves, and what other people consider different and such like. It's up to them if they see it as I think it's fine for people to notice that it's different, because I think I am different. Obviously, if people are making stupid comments and rude comments, so on and so forth, I actually don't mind people asking me questions. I find it very relieving. I find it clears the air when people say, "You not see very well," and I'm like, "Oh, actually, no, I can't." And you know, and they go, "Oh, all right, okay." But you have to be just quite strong. I think you do have to be strong. And yeah, unfortunately, that is a part of being disabled. It is one of these things where we have to go. And as you get older, and I know as I got older anyway, I accepted my disability more. I accepted the fact that, I can't do this. And I actually asked for help more. And I used to probably go without a lot when I was a kid. And now I'd say, excuse me, could you help me read this, please? And so on and so forth, or I can't read very well, you know, so on, you know. But there are weird little things that you notice yourself doing as a disabled person just to fit in. but I think they're inherent, like they're just automatic. And I think we just have to really be ourselves and not, and sort of like acknowledge that we're disabled, but but you know, that's not all we are. You know what I mean? Like, you use a wheelchair. I can't see very well, but that's the same as like me not being able to grow hair on my head. You know, it's just, oh yeah, it's a feature, but do you know what I mean? Like, it's just what it is. But it is difficult, you know, and it's many years since I was at school, and many years since anyone said a direct, you know, very bad comment to me. But still, even in later life, I get people saying just stupid stuff, and you just have to be able to go, swallow it down, move aside. And at some point, the other day, I got to an edge and said, look, stop it now. And they were like, okay, yeah. But you have to measure where your edge is on that. I wish I had a better answer for you on that one, but
it's just, I've always just thinking about the future, you know, especially going to like uni, and even after that, you know, because I sort of accept myself the minute, you know, because at the school I'm at, everyone knows, you know, everyone sees me every day, so everyone's fine with it. But you know, you still get the odd person who makes the joke or says something, or you know, just even going out in public, and you know, I can tell people are saying stuff. You know, just how do you always conquer that? You know, or just get to a point where like, you know, oh, it's fine, I don't really care.
Yeah, I think it comes with probably age. I think obviously you're a younger man as well, and even I can remember myself, I was more conscious about myself. And actually, as time goes on, like some days I don't even look in the mirror anymore. like I could have food all over my face. I don't know. I'm not bothered. And as time goes on, you end up being less self-conscious anyway. And also, people, as they mature, generally start to be kinder to one another. You know, like, so actually, young or kids and then young adults, they should sometimes be mean and not tamper their voices. But you know, in 20 years, there probably will still be adults saying, "Oh, you know, there's a chap in a wheelchair over there." You know, but it will be more the fact of there's a chap in a wheelchair over there. I don't know how he got up to the 5th stand in the stadium. Than it will be, oh, look at the spectacle. You know what I mean? It'll be people will acknowledge you, but not in a negative way. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, it's a difficult one.
Yeah, I know. I just sort of ignore people now. You know, I've just got to a point where like I just know if they're going to say something, I just have to ignore it. You know, especially my parents would tell me that, because I do get to a point sometimes, you know, where I'm like, I really want to lash out at them and say stuff, but then the other time, like, well, what's the point? You know, they don't understand.
Sometimes it's you know, your parents are telling you to ignore them, so I'd take their advice is to ignore them. But I've addressed people directly as well. You know, when people have, I know that people have said like, you know, why is that guy looking like squinting and this, that, and the other? Say, oh, you're just wondering about my eyesight, and you say, I just can't see very well. You know, just in the same sense as, oh, there's a guy in a wheelchair there. Oh, were you just talking about my wheelchair? Oh, it's actually quite a nice one. Yeah, I got this 2 years ago. It's aluminium, blah blah blah, and you know, I don't walk because X, Y, and Z. That's normally, I think, the reason people talk about others isn't because they don't like the other person or it's a spectacle. It's actually because they're not comfortable themselves around that person.
Yeah.
But they're not comfortable in your presence because of them, not because of you, because they haven't got the ability to look over the fact that you're in a wheelchair. Do you know what I mean? Like, because they would not be able to cope with that themselves. So I think it's a case of, you have to tamper that. Some people blank them, some people address them. I actually find children, very young children, very easy because they're so natural. What's wrong with your eyes? They say, oh, you can't see very well, and so on and so forth.
See, like when we're out somewhere, there's always one kid that always walks past and either, you know, points and says, oh, he's in a wheelchair and all. And I sort of just laugh it off because I know at the end of the day, they're just kids. They're just curious, you know. So, but then when it comes to people my age or older, I have a different perspective on it, you know, because I'm like, you know, the right and wrong, you know, for asking or, you know, speaking about it.
Yeah, but sometimes I think you have to just grade that yourself. Some people blank them, some people address them directly, you know. But you know, follow your parents' advice before mine, though, because I don't want them knocking on my door.
Oh yeah. So what's been like your biggest achievement in, you know, participating in judo?
So I've had some pretty big results, and most people say, "Oh, a Paralympic this and a Paralympic that, or a World Championship," and I don't necessarily. I kind of messed up a bit in London in the finals. I'd snapped my ACL in my leg and damaged on my knee a few times, so my preparation was really quite bad. But within my career and my ability, I should have won the event, and I lost. Partly due to a previous injury and not preparing properly, and partly just the match got away from me, really, right? So most people expect me to say, "Oh, this result," because it's a reasonably big result.
Yeah.
But actually, as my career is finished, I realized that the results and the fighting in particular, the competing, don't really remember it much. I don't really have many memories of it. I think my sort of biggest achievement is becoming a judoka, you know, like becoming not someone that does judo, like I am a judo player, you know, it wasn't thing I did, it was who I was. And being able to just sort of manage that and direct my life in a way in which actually I was in control of my life. I was doing something that I really wanted to do and I loved. And actually I was getting supported by the UK sport and so on and so forth to do it. And for me, that was just like, that was probably the big achievement looking back. And it was all the training I did and the friendships I made. And now I've met my wife via judo, and I've got 2 kids with another one on the way with her. So I suppose that's definitely sort of from my sporting career, that's definitely my biggest achievement. But actually the results now, they seem a bit like a means to an end, because I just love training as well. I love pushing myself, and I really loved like crazy hard training, deep training. So I suppose it's just being able to be in a position. My biggest achievement is being able to be in a position to push myself as hard as I possibly could. Results come in, great. If they don't, they hurt at the time, but later on you kind of go, yeah, I'm still the same person whether I got gold that day or silver. It don't matter, you know. But I would say focus on the good times you can have and try to achieve them. Get some good mates, get a nice environment to train in. Go after that, because your mates and the environment will drive you to success.
Yeah,
and that will be you.
I agree with you. I'm very into my training. You know, sometimes I enjoy my training more than the actual, playing itself, especially tennis. I love my coach gives me really hard drills, but I love doing it because I know I can get better at it the more I do it. So I like a more intense workout or training than actually, going and playing.
Yeah. Oh no, I think it's very common within performance as well. And the more performance you do, I think, well, for me anyway, and I know some of the judoka have been like this, that actually the early results are like a honeymoon period. And then you go into the sort of middle results where you're like, I'm doing well, I'm X, Y, and Z on the world ranking. And as your career sort of dwindles on, especially if you have a dip in performance, then results start becoming a relief. So you're like, oh, I'm relieved I won. And for me, I didn't feel as much joy at the end. I felt more relief. But I'd also built up pressure and pressure and pressure on myself, So I found training so easily because there was no pressure on training, So I actually really enjoyed that. And actually, I was just happy that I moved to a great place, and, I could surround myself with people that were also pushing themselves. So that was a big achievement. But I didn't realize at the time. I just thought the achievements were the results at the competitions, But little did I know, looking back. I'd love to be in your position again, starting out a career.
No, that's what I love, because for me, especially in the tennis, I'm still in that stage where I'm starting out. I haven't really got that stage now, like all those other tennis players, like Ben, who are competing non-stop. I'm still at that tiny stage where I can do whatever I want. I can work on things that I love, things I hate, like serving, but I don't have to worry about, success just yet.
Yeah,
You know, I still have that time to work on it, and then I can worry about all that.
Yeah, I think, and that's the thing, like, concentrate on the things that you want to concentrate on, and the success will happen. Because at the end of the day, if you're not enjoying those little things that you have to do to be successful, if you're not enjoying them, then you probably won't be able to have the capacity to actually put so much effort into them that you'll win in the end. Do you know what I mean? Like, because actually, if you're going, oh, I've got to do my serving practice again today, you probably won't go in at 100%. You'll go in at 90. And over 10 sessions, that's one session missing. Do you know what I mean? And that all adds up to performance. One of the things I always say, right, and I sort of later in my career sort of said it, not always actually, it was sort of, I said it later I think in an interview, and I thought, that makes sense. Every session counts, right? Whether it's a hardcore training session, whether it's a gym session, whether it's just mobility and stretching, or just like actually taking time out of the sport as a session. You know what I mean? It's funny because sometimes we classify relaxation as a session, recovery as a session. I'm going for a walk. Every session counts, right? And emotionally tally them up, because every time you're working quite hard or doing what your coach has asked of you, then it all adds up. And if you're enjoying that training, it just becomes a huge bank of resources to like pull upon in the future. So I'm glad you enjoy the training, because if you'd said the opposite, you got a lot of misery to get through.
Especially seeing like all 3 sports I play, I have those 3 days a week, and I just enjoy just that feeling of, I get to do training now, at night or during the day. And I think really for me, in my position right now, if I was being hit with a lot of competitions all the time, I don't think I'd feel the same. It would just be more like constant pressure of, I have to go play this now, or I have to go and compete against these people.
Well, it's one thing as well, like, and it depends what age you are, but also it depends what sort of sport you're doing. But we generally within sport, the sort of, there was all myths in the past about 10,000 hours. If you do 10,000 hours at something, you're fantastic. I'm pretty sure, like, I've done 10,000 hours walking in my life, and I'm probably no better than the person next to me who's done 5,000, right? So it's a little bit of a myth, those skill acquisition things, right? But with sport, I like the fact that you're not just doing one. So what we don't want is early specialization. And you're a little bit further down the path, but also you've got other complications because you do a fringe sport, and there's not that many people to compete against and such like. But actually doing multiple sports, as I did as a teenager, you get so many transferable skills and abilities, from your basketball. All your turning in with the basketball will have a direct impact on your turning with on the court when you're playing tennis. You know what I mean? And actually, you have to be careful that they don't go against each other. But the fact that you're still sort of dipping your toe in other sports just allows you to have more friends, more social interaction, more opportunities to achieve, more opportunities to learn. And when you're not under any pressure right now, I'd say it's a very, very, very good place to be, And if for whatever reason it doesn't happen in tennis, you could also say, well, actually, might join a different team and have a go there, and this, that, and the other. I think you're very wise to continue to do, 3. And if you do go more specialist down the road of tennis, maybe drop one of them, but try and keep other things in your life besides just the sport. I got very focused like this on judo. And after my career sort of started to come to an end, if I hadn't got my family and this other things going on, I would have been a little bit at a loss. So, I think it's very much wise to keep multi-sports going. I was the same as a teenager. I did like swimming club on the X day, athletics the next day, multi-sport and games the next day. I was always in a club, so it's good.
I know, that's what I love. I can't go a day without doing sports or doing something active, because I also use crutches as well. And I always go and play football with my brother. It's one of those things where it's like, I can't not work out or do sports. You know, it's sort of just in my system now where, you know, if I don't do it, I'm going to feel like rubbish.
Yeah, I think, you know, your brain will be telling you this thing. Sport, like anything that we enjoy, it's a little drug. You know, we get a sort of a boost from doing it. So do it more. You know, it takes a lot of effort for sport to become destructive. And if you become a performance player, then your body starts to break down a little bit, and this, that, and the other. And maybe sport isn't as good for you as the adverts make out. But actually, if you're doing loads of different sports and you're doing them for fun, keep doing that. Keep doing that. It's good. It's good.
All right. Well, firstly, would you have any questions to ask me or anything?
Ooh.
Sort of reverse it around here.
No, that's good. That's good. I like that. What are your aspirations within your tennis career, or sort of, let's say if it's not tennis, it's something else. Like what?
Yeah.
You're a very sporty person. I can tell you're driven. What level do you want to get to? And I'll say,
I think
there's a double question here. One sec. Let me get through this first. What level would you like to get to? Right, because I quite like this question. I've done this with the judoka in the past. And what level would you be satisfied with? Right. So if you had to walk away, what level would you be satisfied? So where would you like to be, and where would you be satisfied with?
I think for the tennis in like the next coming years or so, if it works out, I would like to be in that position where, you know, where you're ranked in a system. I think I'd be satisfied if I was somewhere in between there, you know, or at a level where I know I'm not bad, but I'm also not, you know, like the very best. I'm sort of in that in between place where, like, you know, I'm satisfied of how I play. You know I play well. I know I can succeed, you know, in a lot of things. And I think as well, I would like to participate more in, you know, competitions like we talked about earlier, you know, over in England. So, and collect rewards, you know, so at least I can look back and say, well, I may not be the number one, but I got to a place where I earned a lot, you know, and that's that satisfaction of knowing, you know, I got to that place.
I think it's, you know, from what I hear from you before and you drive, there's no reason why that shouldn't happen. There's risk involved. You potentially have to change your life and such like, but again, there's nothing wrong with having a go and then saying, this ain't for me. No, I think as sportsmen, we put this thing on ourselves that things have to be successful. They don't, you know, and it's the faster we learn that, the faster we know we can walk away. It's so much easier to do the professional sport when you know tomorrow I can just walk away if I want, you know. And if you can keep in that position, it's great. But if you can get into that sort of realm of on the ranking list, talent development, let's say phase it is, there's no reason why you just can't keep plugging, put yourself in a good position, surround yourself with people that are strong and, you know, support you. Just keep plugging away and get yourself up that ranking list, you know. So if that's where you'd like to be, what's your lowest level of satisfaction?
Do you mean like somewhere where I'm not happy with?
Yeah, no. So for example, I would say in my early career, I know what one of my goals was. I wanted to be European, World and Paralympic champion simultaneously. So it had to be all in one package. And I managed silver in the Paralympics, silver in the Worlds and gold in Europe. So I missed off on 2 positions really. And it was disappointing, but that was my goal. What the bottom level of satisfaction was go to the Paralympics, get a medal. Do you know what I mean? So what would you least be satisfied with and still be like, yeah, that's good. I'll walk away and be happy.
Well, I think sort of similar to you, and I think I had the same wish last year for the school games, which was, you know, win a lot in my singles and finish, you know, at the very top, you know, first, second or third, and that'd be me. You know, obviously that didn't happen last year. It was obviously the doubles instead, you know, but it was still that satisfaction of, well, I walked away with the medal.
Right, okay, that's good.
So I think I'm sort of more that person. I have a few of them just sitting up there as well, but I think for me last year, even though I didn't hit, you know, even though we didn't beat the number 1 players in the finals, I think it was just more that satisfaction of, well, I got this medal here.
Yeah.
And I can bring it home and I can wave it about, you know. So I think that's what hit me.
I think that's a healthy way to be, and I wasn't like that at all in my early career. I was just like, I need to win everything. But actually, as time moved on, and I think I most noticed it when I asked somebody else that question. So I asked somebody that was going for the Olympics, didn't get to the Olympics, but said, I want to represent GB at this like a judo tournament, a specific judo tournament, and they managed it, and they walked away in their career not being an Olympian, but saying, you know what, I got to that point. And even for myself, looking back, actually, if I'd sort of addressed this question myself, like, actually, what's the bottom level of satisfaction? I way surpassed that in my career. But I hadn't even asked myself because I was obsessed with winning, you know, rather than, well, if I had to stop tomorrow because I got a brain injury, actually, I'd be perfectly happy with one Paralympic medal. You know what I mean? So it's a good question to have always in the back of your mind because it just relieves a bit of pressure.
Yeah.
You know, so, but what else?
Right.
What else we got?
I think I just sort of, one last thing I've sort of got in my head is, what advice would you give me after, you know, us talking here as well and my experience last year, you know, for going ahead this year to this year's school games? Because obviously I'm going this year with 2 new people who are younger than me, you know, to play with me and stuff. And obviously I know the place around, but what advice would you give me, you know, going against? Because now I'm a lot more confident, you know, playing. I don't really have the nerves anymore, and I sort of know how, you know, to play my game.
Okay. What advice would I give you? All right. Well, I would say before the talk, you know, widely control the controllables. So everything that you can control, you can have an impact on it. So you can worry about it. You can make sure you've got your rackets with you. You make sure you've got your lucky pants with you if you need lucky pants or whatever it may be. I wouldn't ever recommend that because one day you'll forget your lucky pants and it's a thing that you can never satisfy, right? So, but whatever you can control, you can control. Remember, everything else that you can't control, don't get upset about it. Don't waste energy on it. I think going into tournaments, there's huge amounts of sort of energy just seeping out of athletes. Worry, stress. Athletes, judo players, we lose a lot of weight. So we're putting a lot of effort into that. And it's one of these things where if you can control it, you can have an impact on it. If you can't control it, don't put stress into it and effort into it because it's effort that you could be putting into the ball in the next match, you know. So I would definitely say that. I would say have clear objectives within the game, have clear objectives within each point. We call them in judo exchanges, but you know, a point, and just really focus on that. And again, if you win, remember to reflect. You know, that isn't just because you win. It's not a moment to put your racket down and go, oh yeah, I'm the best, and so on and so forth. I don't need to learn, because we all need to learn. And you know, take the opportunity, whether you win or lose, to learn as much as you can. I don't know if you keep a training diary or sort of jotter with you, but
I have been the last couple of weeks, and I think that's one of the things I will do, especially getting to near time, is keep a clear, you know, like point thing of what I want and how I will do it. You know, because I don't want to go over there like last year and be like, I have no idea what I'm doing here. You know, I sort of want and a drive to know, you know, what I want to do, and then that's it.
Yeah, I think that's, and like I said earlier, you can have little triggers to remember that, because you won't be able to have your notebook on the court. So it might be, right, get to your point, consider the match, right, what, you know, 30, 40 down or whatever it may be, consider what you're going to do, you know, have a little routine in your head, you know, and try to get that routine and your sort of technical points that you can work out with your coach aligned. If your routine doesn't give you space to think about what you're going to do in the next exchange or next point, then it's probably not a long enough routine, or maybe you need to bounce the ball a little bit and have a little. It's these things are perfect, like personal, very personal. And once you find your sort of little routine as to go, right, what do I want from the match? What do I want from this next sort of few points? What do I want from this literal point? Then you'll get much more concise. And I think athletes just Like professional athletes just block out more and more of the stuff that they can't control and focus more and more on the stuff they can control. And you get more efficient and better at that. But things like notebooks will help you. But you may get to a point in which you actually think, well, I'm putting too much effort into this notebook. It's distracting me, you know, but you kind of have to find your own way. But at the same time, use people around you to learn off and try different things. You know, like if you think, even if you're successful, well, this might work for me, have a go. And even sort of when you're not competing directly, you can sort of do practice matches where you potentially say, actually, we're going to play a full game here. So we're going to be here for 3 hours or whatever you may be. You may be able to imitate these points to go, actually, I get nervous in the third set. So I'm going to play 2 sets and see what it feels like to go to the third set and keep doing that. But, you know, for this time in particular, keep your notebook, have clear goals, control what you can control and let everything go past you that you can't control. And after which, try and keep learning and progressing as much as possible. But I think you've got a mature head on your shoulders, and you know, I think you're clearly focused on what you want to do and succeed.
Yeah, it's all right. Thank you. I just needed a wee bit of, you know, advice, just because normally I'm the type that just goes, you know, head first, and then I end up, you know, swimming in the deep end where I'm like, oh no, I don't know what to do. I start panicking, and then I look around to my dad, who's, you know, coaching me, and then I look at my coach, and they're all sitting me like, well, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'm sort of sitting there like, oh no, and then that's when my, you know, at the start we were talking about panicking. I start panicking. I'm like, oh, I can't do this. I'm gonna lose. You know.
Yeah. So yeah, like I say, like I like a routine. And even if, let's say, you start doing a routine and it sends you in the wrong direction, at some point in your tennis career, you're going to have a routine. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of these things where it may not be perfect right now, but you're probably going to have a routine to do. And the more you can control your thoughts from going off that path, the better, I would say, you know. But I've been in exactly the same situation where you're like, I literally don't know. I've literally like held my hand up to my coach, like, like I don't know what to do. Help me. But sometimes, you know, I'm not by any means your coach or anything like that. But in judo, sometimes you have to go off the plan, especially if you can't see a route through. You know.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a map in front of you and every way is blocked. Sometimes you just got to go off the track and walk around, sort of thing. So sometimes that works, but that's athlete creativity, and that's what we go back to earlier. Concentrate on the small points. You can do all the big stuff. You can do all that. Do you know what I mean? You can return a ball. You can do this. You can do that. Just like I can react if someone tries to throw me. Actually, I need to concentrate on tiny things of posture, and everything else comes into place.
Yeah.
You know, so it's. It might be for you, concentrate on court position, and actually you can return any ball because the sort of wheeling and striking the ball is natural. Just concentrate on this court position. You know, I don't know what it is for you, but your coach will be able to work that out. But I'm confident that you're going to have a successful game.
That's all right. Thank you. Well, that's all I really have to speak today.
Wow, so that's good. Well, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
I didn't really know how it was going to be, and sort of you know what the rapport was going to be like, but I'm confident.
Oh wait, I have one more thing. Sorry.
Go on.
Do you know about the people called backup? They're sort of like would you advise me to get into things, you know, like maybe a part-time job where I can talk to other people similar to me, you know, to give advice out? Like, would that be something that could help me, you know, at the stage I'm at now? You know, would that maybe be a good thing for me to do, you know, like influence and talk to other people?
Other people with disabilities, you mean?
Yeah, like would that be something maybe that could help me, you know, because then I'd be talking to other people about how my experience is.
Yeah, I think you're a lot more mature than I was at your age, basically. So it's strange for me to consider, like, oh, actually, this kid lad, because I don't think when I was your age, I would necessarily have the ability to do that. But you know, if you think that's something, if it will pay you, fantastic. A job with money in your pocket is always great. If you'll meet new people, great. If you can help people and get satisfaction from that, great as well. So I don't think there's any reason for you to not take any job that you could potentially do. And if you'll get extra satisfaction from supporting others with disabilities, 100%. But I also think that, I think those of us with disabilities, and part of my sort of personal goal is to make inclusion genuinely inclusion. So eventually I'd like the word and everything about inclusion to disappear, because that's like saying, again, we need to include bald men in the world. I've never heard that, right? That's never been discussed. I've never seen that, or like had that thing at all. I'd like it to get to that point where there actually is no services for disabled people, because we're just people, but I would say, I think that's a long way away, and a lot of work to be done before that point. But I would say, you just because you've got a disability as well, you don't have to get a job around your disability. If you want to, because you feel comfortable and you support others, great. But you can do what you want, within reason. Because we spoke about that earlier. I'm not going to be a taxi driver anytime soon. I'll see if he wants to drive. So, I definitely think you would support other people, and if it's going to pay you and you'll get skill and ability and move forward, you can do anything though. It doesn't have to be that, take your time. It's okay to fail. When we win, and whether we win and we lose, is an opportunity to learn in terms of life as well as sport, But one thing before I came on, actually, I thought I need to mention this is, I think as athletes, we definitely make time to train. You need to make time to socialize. You need to make time to be a normal person as best you can outside your sporting career. You might not be able to have, you're over 18, aren't you? But you might be able to have 3 pints instead of the 6 pints that your mates are having. But, make sure that you make time to be away from sport as well, because I think it can become a bit encompassing. So just make sure as much as you plan your sessions in the gym, make sure you plan your cinema time and all that sort of stuff. You need that personal time and space to breathe.
That's all right.
But no, well, good luck, man. And I'm very confident.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool.
See you later.
See you later, pal.
Good afternoon and thank you for joining us at Loughborough University for the 2022 School Games National Finals, the UK's biggest multi-sport event for young athletes. Now, before we award the medals this afternoon, please show your appreciation to all of our athletes who have competed in this morning's events. And we would like you all to extend a warm welcome to our medal presenter for this afternoon's ceremony, the Lord Lieutenant of Leicestershire, Mike Kapoor, OBE. Now we start with medals from an event yesterday after some result changes overnight. This is going to be for the under-19 girls team medals from yesterday's combined events. Now, as I said, there were some changes in results overnight, but we'd like to say that the team who were awarded gold yesterday have shown great core values that we expect here at the School Games, and we love to see, shown honesty and teamwork and also great sportsmanship. So we would like to welcome up to the podium to now receive silver medals in the team under-19 girls combined event, the Saltaires team from yesterday of Susie Roberts, Rachel Walden and Charlotte Narducci. And now our gold medalists from yesterday's under-19 girls team medals for the combined event, which is now awarded to the Knights. And receiving the gold medals is Isla Winslow, Lauren Airy and Lottie Silverton. Let's hear it for our medalists. And now on to medals from today's event, starting with the under-17 girls individual laser run. Finishing in third and getting the bronze medal, Emily Carmen. Our silver medalist, Evie Powell. And finishing first, the gold medalist and school games champion, Imi Edwards. Your medalist for the under-17 girls individual laser run. Thank you very much. And now we move on to the team medals for the under-17 girls, and today we have medals for bronze, silver and gold. So starting with the bronze, which is awarded to Knights. And the three competitors we will have is Jessica Spolton, Bianca Gomez-Valesco and Emily Oliver. Finishing second in the team event, silver medals to the Saxons. Representing them will be Imi Edwards, Daisy Hassel and Evie O'Connell. And finishing first in the team event, earning gold medals, it's Tudors. And representing them on the podium will be Evie Powell, Emily Carmen and Isabel Whittle. Your under-17 girls medalists. Now we move on to the individual medals for the under-17 boys. Starting off with third place and getting the bronze medal, Jacob Headley. Finishing second and earning the silver, Zinzan Sargent. And finishing first, your gold medalist and school games champion, Dylan Robbins. Our under-17 individual medalists. Next up are medalists for the under-17 boys team competition. Bronze medals are awarded to the Saltires, and representing them, Jacob Headley, Jack Wallace and Finn Bryce. Coming second, our silver medalists, our Tudors, and representing them on the podium, Dylan Robbins, Archie Harding and Stefan Chirita. And finishing first, your gold medalists and school games champions are the Knights. And representing them will be Zinzan Sargent, Thomas Johnson and Toby Aberdeen. Our under-17s boys team champions. Now we move on to our individual competition results for the under-19 girls. Starting off with the athlete finishing in third and taking the bronze medal, Susie Roberts. Finishing second, your silver medalist, Grace McDonald. And finishing first, gold medalist and school games champion, Kirsty Mayer. Your under-19 girls individual medalists. And now for the under-19 girls team event results. In bronze position, the Knights, represented by Isla Winslow, Lauren Earley and Harriet Wall. In second place, silver medalists will be Saxons, represented by Kirsty Mayer, Millie Wicks and Anna Basford. And finally, finishing first, and today they have managed to get themselves the gold, it is the Saltires, who will be represented by Grace McDonald, Susie Roberts and Charlotte Narducci. Your under-19 girls team medalists. And now time for the under-19 boys individual results. Coming third and earning himself a bronze medal, Jack Collett. Finishing second, the silver medalist, Duncan MacDonald. And finishing first, your gold medalist and school games champion, Reece Crawford. Your under-19 boys individual medalists. And on to our final ceremony this afternoon, the under-19 boys team competition results. Starting with the team in third place, which is the Saxons. And to receive bronze medals will be Tom Sanderdom, Freddie Brassey Barlow and Ollie Hodgson. Finishing in second place was the Knights. Silver medals go to Jack Collett, William Barlow and Malachi Clark. And finally, finishing in first, the team school games champion is the Saltires, with gold medals going to Reece Crawford, Duncan MacDonald and Jordan Phillips. Your under-19 boys team medalists. So that is it for this afternoon, Lord Lieutenant. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming along to Loughborough University for the second day of the Modern Pentathlon. Tomorrow is the mixed relay, the third and final day of our programme. But once again, let's hear it for all of our athletes and the teams that have been involved today.